In a world where the marks think they know better than the wrestlers and the bookers, the Fantasy Booking Institute exists to pretty much do exactly that. This is a visit from the FBI.
This is Dan the Dad, and you should listen to Raw and Order or you're grounded.
Welcome to another episode of Raw and Order, the wrestling booking unit, the only wrestling podcast on the planet that put the wrong intro in for this show. I am your host, Detective Mark Smarks, and I am joined, as always, by my partner in crime fighting, District Attorney Vincent K. What's going on, man? How are you?
Mistakes like that will get Warhorse to roll your ass.
Yeah. Fortunately, he doesn't say exactly which episode he's doing, so I could just put him in on the other one and be fine. That'd be fine. But also joining us from up north, not on screen, JLB. What's going on, man?
Hey. Okay, there you go. I wasn't in for a second.
Is your camera broken?
My camera is messed up for some reason, and I don't feel like restarting my computer. So you'll just get my lovely voice. Hey.
That's so
I wouldn't exactly call it lovely.
Exciting.
Oh. It's a very lovely voice.
So very happy.
A lot of wrestling to talk about this week. A lot of debates to do. Before we get into like the events of this week, because there were events, there were things happened. I wanted to talk about a debate I had online. And I wanted to see what you guys' opinions are and where you fall on this. There are a bunch of people really butthurt about Kota Ibushi. If you weren't aware, after Dynamite went off the air this week, Kota Ibushi, who of course appeared in the Blood and Guts match, after the cameras were off, the show was over, fans are trickling out of the arena because they're done for the day. Kenny Omega gives a speech on the microphone about, how he thinks he's done with deathmatch or with this type of wrestling, and he hopes he didn't say it specifically that, but he hopes that it's over with Blackpool Combat Club and that they can just go on with their lives or whatever. Kota Ibushi decides to take a flat back bump onto the thumbtacks for no reason. Just bump down.
Just wanted to do it. And oh my God, the wrestling nerds came out in force. I can't believe he would break kayfabe like that. Oh my goodness, I can't believe he just destroyed my suspension of disbelief on it. This is the worst thing. It's killing the business.
What? Well, if you're on Twitter, I'm going to suggest that you're probably an adult. At least legally. So maybe you should grow up and realize that wrestling isn't real.
Yeah.
By the way, pain is real, and they have to train their bodies to.
And yeah, like it still hurt him. It's not like it's fake thumbtacks either. Like it's somewhat legitimate. It's gonna hurt you to an extent.
But on top of that, and I think this is something that DFA was getting at. We have known wrestling is not a legitimate sport for a long time. 1938, newspapers stopped reporting on wrestling in the sports section because everyone knew it was not real.
Even when we were marks way back in the day, the Vader attacking whoever it was that he was on a talk show with, the Lawler and what's his name feud?
Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman feud.
I kind of thought that was legitimate at some points, though.
And that's what good actors can do, is they can make you feel like something's legitimate. I
saw a clip. DDP on
kick most people's asses, so when he grabs somebody and throws him, there's a legitimacy to that.
I saw a clip of DDP on TRL in the 90s, and Raven came up on the video screen and did his "What about me? What about Raven?" thing, and then came out and clocked him upside the head with a trash can lid, and then gave him an even flow DDT through the coffee table, and oh my goodness, it's so real. But here's the thing: it never was. It never was.
No.
And like I said, in 1938, 90 years ago almost, everyone knew, right? We just pretend. We just close our eyes to it, but everyone knew. During the steroid scandal, Vince McMahon went into a courtroom and testified that wrestling is not real.
Predetermined.
Yeah, and it's not a real sports event, and therefore should not be subjected to the rules of
Drug
the
testing.
combat drug testing. Yeah, the wrestling commission, the boxing commission. That's what I was talking to say. Right, testified in court on that. In 1996, the curtain call happened. We all saw the video of that floating around the fledgling internet already, right? In, was it 2004, was it? WWE gave up an entire episode of a show to honor a guy that they later figured out was not worth honoring for it, right?
Right.
But they put all the storylines on hold, right? Put them all on hold, and then said, "Hey, we're gonna do these all in honor." And then
Vince was dead.
Yeah, Vince was supposed to be dead, and then he walks out on stage.
I mean, if Trump believed it,
2007.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
In 2011, wasn't it? 2011 or 2012. CM Punk sat down on TV and broke kayfabe right on the show, and talked about other promotions that they didn't talk about. Right? They do this. They've done this all the time. But even more than that, there's always been a rule in televised professional wrestling, and that is, what doesn't go on air didn't happen. Right?
Yep.
That's why
if it was videotaped by fans.
Even if it was videotaped by fans, what doesn't go on air didn't happen. Doesn't matter if fans were in attendance. It doesn't matter if the people were videotaping it. That's why they can have dark matches, right? Dark matches are matches that take place. Fans watch them take place. They can sometimes be two faces facing each other as enemies, and sometimes they're two heels facing each other as enemies, and sometimes they're two people that are in a program with totally other people, but they have a match in a dark match for no reason whatsoever. Because it doesn't matter. It does not matter because it's not on camera, and therefore it didn't take place.
Yeah, what?
Okay, no.
You want it?
No, because I see it going over here.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. Okay.
Because I don't want it to go in your back.
No, exactly.
Okay.
Sorry. Should have put it on mute. My bad.
That was
It's okay.
the best part of this whole broadcast right there. You guys just caught it, and it's there, and enjoy.
But that's the deal. Dark matches happen all the time, right? Dark segments happen. Like I said, Kenny Omega gave a whole speech to the crowd there that was not designed for air.
We
right?
just lost kayfabe right there.
Yeah, we broke kayfabe here, right on the screen. JLB is not supposed to have like relatives and parents and stuff. He was created in a lab. That's canon I just made up right now. But now that I've said it, it's official. Yep. But that's the deal. So that's why I'm just like, I don't understand why everyone's all butthurt about it.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Like,
it was after the cameras were off the air, right? And yeah, I get it. But here's the deal: that's not exclusive to wrestling. At the end of every Broadway show, heck, every stage production since the dawn of stage productions, the entire cast comes out onto the stage, regardless of what character they played and whether they were the good guy or the bad guy or alive or dead at the end of the show. and they all hold hands and they bow to the crowd, and then they break the fourth wall and they give the director or the orchestra or whatever thing,
propositions they'd like to give them.
And then they blow kisses to the crowd. They say thank you to the crowd. They bow again. They do that after every show, right? I personally was in a stage show where a person at the end of the show was laying in a puddle of blood after being stabbed, and they get up and they bow and everything.
They didn't keep kayfabe for that?
They didn't keep kayfabe. They didn't pretend they were dead the whole time.
Bastards. Right? No.
You know what frustrates me is that gentleman who decided that he was going to be a wizard later on in life. Now he's passed since then, but he fell from a 50-story building and should have been dead, and on Christmas Day, of course, and then he decides to show up in another movie. How dare he? I'm referring to Snape.
Yeah.
Like
that's real. I mean, here's the deal. Like,
entertainment.
I got into a discussion, and the guy's like, "Yeah, but they don't do it like on screen." I go, "That's exactly my point. They didn't do it on screen." But guess what? You buy a Mission Impossible DVD, you better believe there's going to be a making of segment that shows behind the scenes on the stunts.
The
right
109 times he drove that motorcycle off of a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
On a ramp instead of the actual just basic cliff. I watched it.
Yeah. Or the making of the scene where he's climbing the Burj Khalifa. How are we gonna do that? He does it without wires. Oh, here's the behind the scenes showing fucking wires, right? And nobody bats an eye because guess what?
Nobody's upset that he's illegally climbing a building.
Yeah, because guess what? We know we're smart enough to know when the show's done, the story's done, right? And so we don't have to have this continuity. Tom Cruise doesn't have to walk around for 2 years as Ethan Hunt, pretending to be a super spy until the next movie gets done filming and airs. Right?
That would be awesome if he did, though.
No, Jared Leto tries to, and everyone fucking hates him for it. And that's the deal. It's like everyone's like, "You think Flair and all that?" And I'm like, I don't actually care.
They are
you know why?
High impact actors. That's what they are.
Mm-hmm.
High impact actors.
Yeah, but here's
some
the
of them
deal,
act well. Some of them do not.
Sure,
if they act well,
sure.
They end up in movies.
Can we argue that 50 years ago, right, wrestlers tried to keep kayfabe off screen a lot more? Yeah, sure they did.
Sure.
Guess what? I don't think that's what we really want, right? I really don't think we want that, right? Because here's the deal: is we've seen a wrestler that keeps kayfabe 24/7, right? In MJF, right? And while it's funny to watch it, right, from afar,
he's kind of a dick.
He's a real dick to a lot of people, right? You know,
we've seen it before. We saw it with Undertaker. Mm-hmm. And the dude gave up part of his legitimate personal life anywhere but inside the arena with his friends, where it was completely shut down.
And what did it do? It kept him from the fans.
Yeah, kept him from enjoying things.
Well, it kept him from enjoying things, but it also kept him from the fans. He didn't do signings. He didn't do public appearances.
True.
He didn't come on interviews or talk shows to talk about the product. He didn't do documentaries. Cody Rhodes is about to have a big major Peacock premiere becoming Cody Rhodes. That's all about his whole fucking thing. And Undertaker didn't do that shit because he was so determined to keep kayfabe. And guess what? It robbed us as fans of experiencing more of the Undertaker, more of that person, more of that character, more of what he knows about the business. Because here's the deal. I've said it before, in terms of as a wrestler, Undertaker never was my thing. Like I got him. It wasn't my thing. I get why other people liked him. I didn't care. Right? But here's as a person of knowledge of the business and how to do it, he's got a wealth of knowledge that he couldn't share for an entirety of a career because anytime he went out in public, he had to pretend he was a dead man, resurrected through unknown reasons and means. And I guess now he's a biker, but still a dead man. But now he rides a motorcycle.
And now he does dead man tours, no problem. So the fans can pay him like $500 a ticket to tell his stories. He's getting it all back now.
Yeah, but he's getting it all back because we were robbed of it for 30 years.
Yeah.
Right? And so we were thirsty for it. And so people are going to pay that money to see that now.
Maybe that's his reward for having kept it, but at the
That's
same
fair.
time,
Yeah.
he gave up 30 years of his life in the public eye to be private, I guess. And anytime you're in the public eye, you run that risk. Fame is not a gift always.
But
most times it's not a gift.
Here's the deal, right? Because you mentioned that they're athletic actors, right? He could have had a fucking Hollywood career.
Sure.
But he didn't, because he was so concerned with keeping this dead man character, keeping the kayfabe alive, right? So instead, we got The Rock, and we got John Cena, and we get Batista, and they're all super great and really successful. And then we get The Miz.
And they'll put their bodies through hell.
You know? But notice it's the people who stepped away and said, you know what, I'm not going to live kayfabe 24/7. Right? That had these successful careers outside of wrestling.
Sure.
And here's the deal: is The Rock's body is in better condition
Now.
than any other wrestler of his age. Right? You know why?
Than he ever was in the ring.
But even I'm just talking from a wear and tear standpoint. You know why?
Because he wrestled for 6 years.
Because he wrestled for 6 years and then he got out and he did something else that's a lot lower impact on the body, right? And The Undertaker is going to pay for the damage that he did to his body as he gets older.
Admittedly so. He actually tells people.
Mm-hmm. And to quote Roddy Piper, when he was asked about, you know, what are you going to do when you get to like 70 and retire and you know, all of that stuff? Do you have a retirement? He says, look at me. I'm a professional wrestler. You think I'm going to make it to 70?
Oh, Jesus.
And he was right. Because he knew the sort of hell they put their bodies through. Mm-hmm. Now, times have changed, and the wrestlers of today have conditioning routines and nutrition.
Don't give you 30 years worth of storyline. They just don't. They're not going to give you 30 years worth of storyline.
But they also, again, just like football players of today, and baseball players of today, and soccer players of today, and hockey players of today, and whatever, have conditioning routines, strength and conditioning coaches, nutrition routines, training, all of this stuff, all of this science to help them live longer lives, right? And keep their bodies in better condition. The wrestlers of today will live longer than the wrestlers of 1990, right? As a whole, they will. Now, yes, there's always going to be those freaks out there who somehow or another make it to 80.
And hence the reason Omega's going to live longer because of this. Mm-hmm. Because quite frankly, he's made a decision that he's not going to take this particular type of ass beating anymore. As has Moxley, who did these almost exclusively for a while. Mm-hmm. But Moxley has openly said, I'm going to do less of these.
Yeah. And the thing with Moxley, he says he likes blood in wrestling because he thinks it brings realism to it. But blood does not have to be hardcore, right?
Correct.
Here's what he says. You watch an MMA fight or you watch a boxing match, and there's no tables or barbed wire involved, and those people still bust open regularly.
Yeah.
I caught what we would have called the latter half of a Rocky marathon today. We would have called it that because there were 4 Rocky movies in our minds. Mm-hmm. Now there's 17 because of all the Apollo movies along with it.
I feel like the Apollos don't count.
You still
the latter half would still be 4, 5, and 6, not 1, 2.
That's fair.
Not 3 and 4.
I'm going to say that you've still seen more Rocky movies than CM Punk has. So
pathetic. Anyway,
That's crazy.
And
he seems so in tune
you know what
with
they
pop
used
culture.
you know what they
was
used
shocked
to
by that
increase the
statement.
realism? Blood. It wasn't real blood, but it was blood. Increases the realism. Makes Clubber Lang seem like a guy who could actually knock out another boxer, and like there could be a two round heavyweight knockout, which never happens in boxing. Anyway, moving forward. That was so exciting when that popped on because of the side project that we're planning. Our fans will love it whenever that time comes. Because that's the first one we're doing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Is
well,
there?
it's a good one.
I mean, other than rock movies, is there any other more infamous wrestler movie that's still a good movie?
I mean,
No,
honestly,
that's
the worst part.
They Live wasn't that bad.
I love They Live, but
really
it's
shit,
it's
but-
100% 80s schlock movie.
Oh, for
I
sure.
love it,
but it was awesome.
I've
the
never
reason-
seen They Live.
It's the reason I made this shirt. Let me find it here because
I will tell you, I've never watched Rocky 3 all the way through.
Oh, okay.
The whole way through. And today I didn't get a chance to. I had to leave for church in time. So
I have watched all of the Rocky movies. I truly mean all of them. It's been a long time.
what's your favorite? I gotta ask. Of the 6, what's your favorite?
Rocky 1 is just iconic, and it's really hard to.
Yeah, but Rocky doesn't win, and that's the hard part for me.
You know, that's actually.
Yeah, but then the comeback story in Rocky 2 also makes it kind of cool.
That's all. Actually, one of the reasons I think I like it the most is that.
Rocky doesn't win in it.
Yeah, because it's
Shows
not the
a dude
story.
fighting to get to.
Yeah,
the
it's not the
chance.
story of him winning. It's the story of him pursuing. Here, this is just talking about They Live. This is the shirt that I created for the podcast. And it says, "I have come here to chew bubblegum and talk wrestling, and I'm all out of bubblegum."
That's it. So many people know that slogan, but they might not know the movie.
Yes.
So that's why I just wanted to give that a go because I'm like, man,
And
I
it's
heard
got
that slogan
the
everywhere.
glasses in the background.
Nice, yeah.
Buy, obey. Anyways, I just wanted to do a plug. You can find that in our spread shop. Link is in the doobly-doos. A great way to support us. I have to look up one movie because I'm not sure if a wrestler appears in it or not.
I mean, obviously, season 1 we would have to do stuff like that. The very iconic ones. We could do stuff like Tooth Fairy later on.
Oh, yeah. We definitely don't need to watch Tooth Fairy anytime soon.
No. Nope, sure don't. And that's
Sure don't.
That's an entertainment rock movie. It's a very good children's movie, but
okay. This one works. This one might work in multiple ways. I gotta check out. But it does work. Roadhouse has Terry Funk in it.
Right.
I would do that one.
Roadhouse is a fun film.
We'll just announce the plan is to release a second season of Botch along, but it being movie based, and so not all of these will be botches. I will tell you the Rocky 3 wrestler part is a botch. It did not add anything to the story other than that Rocky was doing exhibitions instead of actual boxing matches because he'd gotten soft, so to say.
But
other than that,
Rocky is for the one where he takes on a protege. What was his name? Gunn something. Tommy Gunn.
No, that was 6. That is 6.
I have a weird soft spot for
4
6.
is Ivan Drago.
4 is Drago? Okay. I have a weird soft spot for 6.
4 is my personal favorite. Of course, it was released at a time when I was starting to understand movies. The Berlin Wall had just fallen, or was about to fall. It was 87, 88, 89, somewhere in there. I understood, was starting to understand some of the things that were going on in the world. Certainly didn't have a real understanding of them at that point, but there's a nostalgia to "I Must Break You." Sorry. but it wouldn't qualify under our botch along. So we're gonna do a botch along season. Somewhere between 10 and 13 movies that we'll watch the full movies. The full movie reviews will be on Patreon. We're trying to figure that out. This is down the line. It's not guaranteed to be immediate. And then the live streams will obviously be available for 2 weeks.
Because Rocky 5 is Tommy Gunn.
Was it 5? 6 is where he's homeless?
No,
6 is where he gets in, or 5 is where he gets into the street fighting, right?
Yeah, that's with Tommy Gunn.
There
There
isn't
isn't
6
There
is
isn't-
a comeback type thing.
there isn't really a Rocky 6. There's Rocky Balboa that came out in 2006.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm referring to. Which is what?
Which is he's now older. I mean it's the thing where it takes place 30 years.
He tries
after.
to do a George Foreman type comeback.
Mm-hmm. He tries to come back. Yeah. Rocky 5. I have a weird soft spot for Rocky 5. It's not a great movie. I'll be the first to admit. There's a reason that there wasn't a Rocky 6 for 20 or 30 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Over the Top.
And
was the
4
movie I was
wasn't
looking
great,
at.
but it was. Yeah.
Did
Over the Top have a wrestler?
It had Terry Funk in it. I don't remember how big of
Yes.
a role he was, but
Over the
It
top.
doesn't
That's
matter.
It doesn't
Over
matter.
the Top is the worst great movie of our best
That's with Sylvester
horrible
Stallone?
movie ever.
it is. It's so great.
Fuck.
It's arm wrestling.
It's the best horrible movie of all time.
Sylvester Stallone plays a trucker
I mean,
Yes.
who's
Yeah.
getting
I
behind
would
on
put
the
it up.
bills.
You remember the movie The Wizard, which is the you do you're a
Nintendo
gamer
movie.
geek. Yeah, the Nintendo movie. Horrible movie. Concept's terrible. Autistic kid wins the Nintendo championship. Just as the storyline itself is not great. So much fun to watch, and I watch it every single time. Like, how do they know that the whistle is a warp tool? How do they know which one to be on? Because it was the release of Super Mario 3.
But Over the Top, Rocky Sylvester Stallone plays down on his luck truck driver whose wife has divorced him and is taking his son unless he can get enough money to support him. And he enters arm wrestling contests to try to win the money so that he can upgrade his truck and start getting some good money and supporting his son. And it's named because you go over the top. You take your hand, you go over the top to get the leverage to win the match.
That was on TBS actually not too long ago, and I was like, "What the fuck is this movie?" And then so I was watching it a little bit, and I'm like, "Oh, it's Sylvester Stallone. It's got to be pretty good."
And he has to turn his hat backwards
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
to go over the top. Ooh, yeah. I'm gonna keep it backwards.
Why did you
in honor of that movie?
Randy Savage there?
I did go a little Randy Savage.
Ooh, yeah.
Cream of the crap over the top. Ooh, yeah. Bite out a Slim Jim.
Snap into
Snap into a Slim Jim. Jeez, man.
My bad.
bite out a Slim Jim. There is a gas station near me that has a. You have the hat on backwards still. There's a. I thought you would have changed it by now. There's a gas station near me that has a Randy Savage head selling Slim Jims, just a display. And I so badly want to ask them how much they want for the display when they're done.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm just trying to see if Randy Savage appeared in any movies other than Spider-Man.
But I would totally do Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's definitely worth doing. He plays Bonesaw.
We will probably do a relatively public review of the wrestling part, but as a whole, to see the whole movie over the long run, if you're not a Twitch subscriber, you will have to go to Patreon. If you're a Twitch subscriber, you're going to be able to see it here.
Well,
if
I
you're
feel
a
like
Twitch
you can
follower,
even
you can
show
watch it
on
along
Twitch.
with us, but there will be ads.
Well, yeah, no, it'll be on Twitch. Well, but it's only going to be on Twitch for the 14 days, and then it'll be gone, and it'll stay on Patreon afterwards. So
And there will be an
miss it,
edited version for you YouTubers and whatnot.
maybe
Maybe it'll just be the wrestling scene for these ones that are smaller ones.
possibly. Macho Man did a voice in the animated movie Bolt.
Bonesaw is ready.
Oh shit! Okay, nice.
I love it. Anyway, we're here to talk
I got
about
your
this
ass for
this-
3 minutes.
3 minutes. You beat him in 2.5. You're lucky I'm paying you anything.
And that was right around the time, I think, when he released Be a Man Hulk. It was around there. Maybe a year or two off.
2002.
Be Man Hulk. Don't be scared. You're running from macho. That's what I heard. Be a man, Hogan.
That was a really good impersonation. It's too bad your face isn't on here now.
No,
Macho
that's
Man's
fair.
album "Be a Man" was
Like
released
04.
in 2003, so it was a year
2003.
later.
Year later. Yeah. Great.
The real funny
Only
thing,
that song was good, though. The rest of the album was pretty trash.
I don't know. I kind of liked some of them. The perfect, what was it called? Perfect Friend. Perfect Friend was written to honor Mr. Perfect.
Right, yeah. Well, it's also been a hot minute, so I've just, imagined, because I didn't go back to it all these years. But I'll definitely see if I can find it on the streams. That'd be awesome.
But, anywho's okay.
There's
So
always
we're-
Napster, bud.
Yeah,
Napster,
motherfucking Napster.
Napster
Go.
is now a music artist page, so can't do it on
Yeah,
Napster.
you got to use Grokster or LimeWire now.
Or LimeWire, or FrostWire, or...
Frostwire. Oh man, Frostwire. Yeah, it's true.
Just you got to wait 13
I'd also like to
hours.
congratulate you on all of your phishing and malware that come along with the
Yep,
download.
you got to wait 13 hours to find out whether you downloaded a virus.
Yeah, it's true.
Congratulations, you did. Anywho's,
But
This
if you do it
week's
on
recipe.
campus, they'll just yell at you.
yeah, that's right. You do it on one of the campus computers. Like, I don't know about the college you went to. My college had hoity-toity campus computers that every time they rebooted, they went back to stock, so nothing you downloaded stayed on them. Right?
And you already burned it to a CD.
So by then you have it on a CD or a zip disk.
Oh my God, yes.
Because flash drives didn't exist yet. Oh. Now you can get thumb drives that are the size of hard drives, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I used to work so well with just a 4 gig storage computer because we would just burn everything. So it's not like, and files were a little bit smaller too. No,
You
technically, I
certainly
guess
didn't have
files
the
were.
graphics that you need for, anything today.
Zip disks for the young'uns out there. A zip disk was like a floppy disk but bigger,
But
right?
faster.
And it could hold up to 100 megabytes on it.
Sir.
What? That's enormous.
Which, of course, if you don't know, a regular floppy drive was 1.44 megabytes.
Yeah.
And that was enough
It was
for
stupid.
us.
For documents.
JLB,
Yeah.
you mentioning your 4 gigabyte computer and how that was enough. Let me tell you about my first computer that I personally owned. We had a computer for the family, and then I bought a computer.
Don't tell me you got like a 32 megabyte computer.
The computer I
sounded
bought,
like it.
it was a Power Mac 6100.
Jesus.
It came with the stock hard drive that was in it. And I want to look up to be certain on this. The stock hard drive that came in it was come on, Wikipedia, don't let me down.
Don't let me down.
Don't let me down. No, no. Don't let me down.
Oh, it doesn't say. I want to say it was a 180 megabytes hard drive. And 250 megabyte hard drive.
250 megabyte. And I remember upgrading it to a 1 gigabyte hard drive.
And thinking, this is going to cover it all.
I'm thinking, there's no way I'm ever going to fill a gigabyte. 1 gigabyte? That's 1,000 megabytes, man.
Right. Yeah.
That's 4 times the size of my old hard drive. I'm never going to fill that up. It had...
Now I have 4 terabytes, and I'm like, I need more.
It had a maximum of 32 megabytes of RAM. I think I only had 16 megabytes in mine. To keep a reference here, this phone that I carry in my hand right now, which isn't even the latest model of this, has 256 gigabytes of storage in it. Right?
For a phone.
For a phone.
Times are changing. Times
it has literally 1,000 times the memory that computer started off having. Anyways, let's talk about Raw. So Raw...
Yeah. Hey, we started the podcast 40 minutes late, but we did it live this time.
38 minutes of... started off with Cody Rhodes coming out and...
what do you want to talk about?
And then he issues his challenge again for Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar music hits.
Just once, I want somebody to say that they're going to wait in the ring until that person comes out, and that person not come out,
and then just sit there the entire time.
Just sit there.
Like
you can do this in the last segment of the night. Don't give me 3 hours of Cody sitting there.
I think them just sitting their thing like on the ramp, saying, I am going to stay here until someone, and then just have them there the entire night.
Yeah.
Have entrances come and walk around them and be like, you okay, man? Maybe someone brings out some water to him. Yeah, fist bump. You're looking thirsty. Here's some popcorn, or whatever. And then the show go off the air.
Something from catering for you. I brought you wings from catering. That's Seth bring them out.
Seth bring out wings. You looked a little peckish.
Sorry, go on. That line happens a lot, and it just was really, really
plot
weird.
Plot twist. He brings the extra spicy ones. So then Cody's sitting on there like he's in the final round of hot ones.
But he needs a drink. Needs a
drink, and he can't leave because he said, "I'm not leaving until someone shows up." So, anyways, but he calls out Brock. Brock's music hits, but no one comes out. And he goes, see, whatever. And then he gets out of the ring, and as he's standing outside the ring, Brock music hits again. And so he goes up to the top of the ramp, and he's like, come on, Brock, come on. And then it shuts off. And then it hits again. He's like, come on. And he does the dumbest thing you could ever do, and that's walk into a blind, dark corner. Like, I'm going to go backstage. And, of course, next thing you know, you see a chair come fly, and you see Brock come out with a staggered Cody Rhodes, and Cody gets F5'd a couple times.
So Simon has done a really good job of pointing out some of these interruptions. That somebody literally, for their music to hit, has to wait for a particular cue, and then the music hits. So, somebody just standing back there, and they're doing nothing, and then they're like, wait, did they say my name? I need you to hit my music real quick so I can go out there.
Hit my music. My best friend's getting beaten up. Hit my music. Hit my music.
Hold on. Don't do anything. Wait for the emotional tearjerker to occur and then hit my music. Just like if you're going to do it, just come out. Anyway, sorry.
My tag team partner's getting beat up. Wait for a moment.
Wait.
Hit my music and make sure you get me while I dance all the way to the ring.
I'm going to go save my brother Matt. Now I'll go.
I knew you knew who I was getting at. Anyways, Matt Riddle then faced off with Gunther again. Gunther won again. The only good thing, in my opinion, about this match, not that it was a bad match. I want to be honest. It's not that they put on a bad match. It's just we've seen it. We've seen it and seen it and seen it. The only good thing to come out of it was this time, instead of doves, the CGI animals for Riddle were rhinos. Excuse me.
Rhinoceri?
Rhinos. But I was reading this thing here.
Rhinoceroses.
They were rhinos, but Grave called them chubby unicorns. So my brain was trying to say rhinocorns.
Either way, all of it's better than Graves.
Yeah, chubby unicorns. Yeah, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. Wait, no, I got to do it again. Chelsea Green and Raquel Rodriguez.
I believe you're making a mistake. It is live, Morgan, please.
Yeah, well, I don't know if she's live after this match. She got her butt kicked and does look like she may have legitimately suffered another injury.
Thanks, Rhea Ripley.
But also, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez lost the tag title to Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. So we have new tag champions. In a related note, Matt Cardona participated in a match in DDT Pro Wrestling over in Japan over the weekend, and he came to the ring wearing a replica of the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship because he claims to be 1/4 of the Women's Tag Champions.
Matt Cardona did?
Yes, because his wife is half of it, and he's got 50% of what is hers is his. So
that's fantastic.
He also did at that win the DDT Universal Championship. So
she's actually got half of the DDT Universal.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Oh?
I mean, this is DDT. They might actually honor that, to be perfectly honest. That's what I wanted to say.
You would allow her to go play.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say back in the whole Kota Ibushi thing. I do want to bring this up real quickly here. If Kota Ibushi taking a back bump onto Thumbtacks for no reason makes you angry and not want to see Kota Ibushi anymore, or anything like that, Kota Ibushi might not be the wrestler for you. Maybe just not watch Kota Ibushi. Because this is the guy that took Yoshihiko to a 5-star match, the blow-up doll in DDT.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, other people have done it too,
right,
but he is one of them that has done it. I'm pretty sure he had a match versus a Invisible Stan one time.
I'm here. Sorry.
Oh, that's what happened. I was like, what happened? I hear nothing.
Elon's a dick.
Oh, because it's not Twitter anymore. It's X now.
What?
Yeah. He announced last night in the middle of the night that Twitter was rebranding to X. And they're going to get rid of the bird. And X.com now redirects to Twitter. And they've got a new logo that's going to be rolling out.
Okay, it didn't already happen, because I'm like, I swear I still see the bird around.
It's the official name change was supposed to happen today, but it might take a while for the app to hit people's devices.
X.
Now here's the deal.
I just want you to understand that X is going to give it to you. What?
Oh, gonna give it to you, X. Gonna give it to you.
It's important to note. Elon has a long history with the letter X.
No, I get it.
His first company that eventually became PayPal was X.com. That's why he named SpaceX SpaceX. He apparently refers to his son with Grimes as X. And he's continued to own X.com for a long time and rolled Twitter under the corporation X.com a while ago. But yeah, in one of his like middle of the night, very likely pot infused brainstorming tweets, he announced that and then offered if anyone
Just
can
like
come up,
Kanye.
if anyone can
Has
come up
some
with a
random
sweet
shit at
logo,
night.
we'll use it. Like he literally tried to crowdsource the logo to his company.
Oh,
But anywho, but so yeah, Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville now tag champions.
Why do I like that so much?
I like it.
because it's about time. Because we all thought it was Chelsea Green wasn't going to go anywhere with the Karen thing, but she ultimately did a really good job with it. Sonya Deville has been deserving for quite some time too, and they just work well together. And honestly, we don't really get great women's tag teams.
Well, the thing with
Like-
it with Chelsea is her and Sonya went for it, right? They got
Right.
relatively matching tag outfits. Like they're not beat for beat matching, but they're the same color and same general theme. They come out together as a tag team instead of coming out to individual music, and they do wrestle well as a tag team. It also frees up Raquel Gonzalez, to be a singles wrestler, which we know they've wanted her to be, to finish some feuds there. So, and it leaves Liv Morgan open to be injured again, apparently.
Oh, she's injured again?
It looks like she may have hurt her wrist. We don't know how serious it was, but she got attended to by medical at ringside during the ending of that match, and was seen later with her arm in a sling, or maybe it was just her wrist bandaged, but it was in a sling. We don't know for certain.
Okay.
So, Bleacher Report's being stupid, so give me a second. Alpha Academy versus Viking Raiders happened again. But they did get Maxine Dupree her Alpha Academy jacket back, so yay for that. And Otis did look like a beast for the first time in a while, so I was happy there. Shayna Baszler absolutely destroyed Nikki Cross. And then got taunted. Poor Nikki, yeah. And then got taunted by Ronda Rousey.
Oh, man. Yeah, what a cringe promo.
Yeah. Don't.
It might have been her best so far, though.
It might have been her best, but
I mean, that's fair.
I
I probably agree with
understand
that.
that's not singing a lot, but
Right.
it's a very, very low bar to cross.
it's a hurdle. This is a hurdles competition.
No, you don't have to hurdle to get over this bar. It's just a step across, man. It's that low.
Okay.
Shinsuke versus Bronson Reed.
Yeah, I think I skipped that match.
I didn't skip it, but I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it.
Yeah, I would venture to guess I was out like doing something like covering the pool because I don't remember that match.
And then Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens versus the Judgment Day. Sammy and Kevin retained and kept it. I don't actually know if it was a tag championship match, but Sammy and Kevin still won.
I mean, do we cover main roster NXT now?
I wasn't gonna, but it's probably worth it because there's
pretty
big
relevant.
news that comes out of it. Yeah,
There's a particular wrestler who just did something that I think nobody else has ever done. That is headline all 3 shows in a week.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say. I really didn't want to, but it's actually probably something we should talk about because Dom,
Jody Dom, get it right.
Not only won, lost on Monday night.
Yep.
But he had a winning effort the next night.
Yep, went down and Dom. I go with what Rhea calls him, and Rhea calls him Dom.
You don't want to go with Condom?
Sure don't.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
That's why we say it, my friend.
Condom.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yes, no, we get.
It's almost like I understood that when I said it.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Just making sure you understood your own joke.
Making sure you understood your own fucking joke. I
Appreciate your help with my punchline.
You're very welcome. I'm here every Sunday and sometimes
Yeah,
Tuesday.
that's funny because it sounds like condom. Did you know that? Did you realize that sounds like condom?
I like that he says he's here every Sunday and sometimes
Tuesday. I was here last Tuesday, just that towards the end.
That was Thursday.
It was Thursday.
Oh, it was Thursday. That's fair.
Importantly, you were not
you weren't
here on Tuesday.
Right. No, that's fair.
And we said, hey, if we did it Thursday, would maybe some more people show up?
And people said yes. And then they didn't.
And then they didn't. Yes.
I said yes, but I have a movie at 10.
Oh, the
So I'll
people
show up
we're
late.
referring to was not you in that
Oh,
case.
that's fair. Yeah.
Enigma. You know why he's called the Enigma?
You never know if he's going to
Because
show up.
you've never seen him on the show, on the podcast. He's part of the
Yo,
podcast group.
we should just
literally never seen him.
We should literally just talk about him on the podcast all the time now, and then just bank on him never actually making it to the podcast. People listening to the podcast, they keep mentioning this guy, but I've never seen him.
Yeah, we'll get like a major
Yeah,
debut.
we need to go back and look at the old episodes.
We should go back
That's
and
fine.
edit some references to Enigma and some of the old ones.
You know, the Enigma said that the Texas Cloverleaf is a
Not a standing figure four.
is a arm
trap
bar
sharpshooter.
arm drop. What did you say? Arm drag.
Arm trap sharpshooter.
Arm trap sharpshooter.
When it's clearly a standing figure four.
And it's honestly just a
Clearly.
Cloverleaf. It's its own
In
move.
nobody's eyes.
Like we don't have to over modify this move.
I actually just like calling it a standing figure four because it gets a rise out of people.
For sure. You would.
It's clearly a standing
Such a
figure
shit
four.
disturber.
Moving on to I better do this one. Hold on. And
Hey, we didn't actually say what Condom did though.
well, that's
Oh,
why
he
I'm
won-
bringing
he won
up
the North American
NXT
Championship.
results.
Okay.
He won the North American Championship by
did indeed.
cheating.
Of course. Expect it any other way. Mommy's always got to help.
Bringing up NXT results. Okay. So, Ilya Dragunov stood up to Carmelo Hayes. Los Lotharios versus Nathan Frazier and Dragon Lee, which I did get to see some of this match, and it was a very, very good match. Dragon Lee is always great. Nathan Frazier wrestled on AEW Dark a couple times as Benjamin Ben Carter, I think is what his name was. And I was really hoping AEW would have tried to sign him, but instead he went to WWE, and he's finally making kind of a mark in WWE. And of course, Los Lotharios is Hector Garza and Angel Garcia. And I got a pull for my boy Humberto. Did I call him Hector? Humberto Carrillo. Hector Garza.
I was wondering who Hector
uncle.
was.
Hector Garza is his uncle. Hector Garza is Angel Garza's father, I believe,
Right.
and Humberto Carrillo's uncle. So, anyways, but Los Lotharios are always awesome.
So they're on the NXT now. Son of a bitch. Okay.
I don't know if they're permanently back down to NXT or just sent back down for a few appearances.
Okay.
That being said, it is a good fit for them. They weren't using them on SmackDown, so might as well let them tear it up on that. Gigi Dolan versus Kiana James. Gigi
Dolan lost to Kiana James, which I don't know if that sets something up in the future because Kiana James is kind of who the fuck is that. Axiom and Script versus two people never heard of. I don't know who they're from, what they're from. I don't know, whatever. But wasn't a great match. D'Angelo family got a win over Gallus. A very interesting thing happened backstage. And I don't think they showed it on NXT, but it was on one of their
socials,
backstage social things. But and this ties into a while ago, the D'Angelo family locked Pretty Deadly in the trunk of a car. Pretty Deadly, of course, have since gone on to the main roster. And then recently got injured. In one of the backstage segments, D'Angelo family was walking along, and Pretty Deadly came by with the one of them that just got injured in a wheelchair and everything. And they saw each other, and Pretty Deadly like hid their faces and just rolled past really quickly. And the D'Angelo family was, hey, wasn't that the guy we... And the guys, don't worry about it. Let's move on. So just a little hint of continuity there, which is kind of fun. Thea Hale versus Elektra Lopez, and then afterwards, Thea Hale did a big call out saying that she wants Tiffany Stratton. She knows she can defeat her. She had her tap out once. She can do it again, and she can win that NXT Women's Championship. And I do like Thea Hale. I do think she's got a good upside to her. So, next, Eddie Thorpe versus Oro Mensah. I don't know either of them, so whatever. I don't care.
Also, don't get why she accepted. The champion accepted her whole submission match when she was giving her a submission in order to.
Well, because she wanted to get out of the submission. You'll say almost anything if you're in the submission, right? Anything to get let go.
I get it, but to agree to a submission match to potentially be in the same spot on
anything to stop the pain.
That's fair.
Including tapping out later.
And then
I think so here's a fear that I'm developing with WWE. I don't think Trips knows how to strike when the fire's hot.
I see what you're coming, because we were going to talk about it on SmackDown.
Right now.
I think Thea Hale very well made. Now, fortunately, Trips is apparently not involved in day-to-day booking for NXT. That's under Sean.
So we may get Thea Hale.
And so
I think I think Chase U is a over heel faction. In the long run, I think they're a heel faction. They were a heel faction. I think they'll go back to being a heel faction. I think that Thea Hale, this is her moment, and she can actually send them to a heel faction. That's what I believe.
I think, regardless of face or heel, they're an over faction.
Well, but I mean, if they need a
and
heel,
she's over.
She's very
super
over. As is Tiffany Stratton. I'm not dogging Tiffany Stratton. It's easy to hate Tiffany Stratton, but when you use low hanging fruit as the reason for somebody to be a heel, you only get so much good quality fruit. The rest of it will get picked.
Yep. But then the final thing, we've already mentioned it, Wesley defending his NXT North American Championship against Dominic Mysterio. Dom got the win, baby!
I think that could be really good for NXT.
Possibly. Yeah. I think it's...
I think
mean, that's great for Wes Lee. I thought you were going to bring Wes Lee to SmackDown, unless he was there, and I totally missed it.
No, Mello was.
Yeah, it was.
I think the smart move with Condom or Dom, whatever you want to call him, Dominic Mysterio,
Dirty Condom.
Continue. Not condom, condom.
Condom.
Jeez, you filthy human being. You filthy Canadian.
Because he's a con. He's a con.
And his name's Dom.
And his name's Dom. He is a con.
I get it, guys.
Dog.
I know I'm slow.
So-
I know I'm turtle slow sometimes, but I got it. I got it.
So anyway, I think that the really smart move there is I think it will draw people. I think that character might be the most over heel in the game right now.
Possibly.
Might be.
Yeah.
I mean, the only one who would be close to as hated is MJF, and he has to play the role all the time.
Except MJF isn't hated right now. We fucking love him. We'll get to
I
him in a
know.
bit.
It's so great.
It's great. It's great.
But we'll hate him even more when he makes us hate him again.
But yeah. There was also a scene backstage with the D'Angelos and Dominic where the D'Angelos walked up and they said, Tommy Sweet sends his love. I'm like, oh, you know Tommy from the yard? I thought that was
You were in a holding cell for less than 8 hours in kayfabe. With cops that showed up because your mom slapped Rhea after Rhea attacked Ray.
But moving on to SmackDown, Rey Mysterio defeated Sheamus, Grimes, and LA Knight. This plays into the other part of your argument of Trips not knowing when to strike.
Yeah.
Did
we need another Ray Roman match?
Yeah. The only reason to do Rey Mysterio winning is if you feel like you want to give him another run with a belt before he retires. And he's given you notice that he's planning on retiring at some point. Those two things have to happen. Yeah, very soon. Right? Like, if he comes and says...
if you're going to go make him lose, there's a dozen other people you can make lose to Roman.
Yeah!
There's one of them. Yeah!
Yeah.
Like, you can make him lose, and you can get a 3-match run out of that.
Yeah, and the thing is...
Those guys can cut enough promos for that.
You can have him lose all 3 of them, and it won't hurt him. It'll elevate him, and then have him go and actually go after the U.S. title and win and have a run with the U.S. Because the important thing to remember is none of the top stars of the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s started off with the top belt. All of them worked their way up, right?
Correct.
Rock had his Intercontinental belt, run.
Trips had IC.
Trips had the IC. We could just go on, but they all did. All of them. Every single one of them started with an IC run. Or
IC or US.
Did Austin have anything?
European title. Hardcore title.
Austin had the King of the Ring.
Austin had King of the Ring.
Oh, okay.
Which is something. I don't know if he won that. I think he won the IC title. Let's look. Every Stone Cold Steve Austin title championship reign. Well, we got WCW on TV, World TV Champion. I remember that. World TV Champion twice, 2-3 times, something like that. Tag Team Champion with Flying Brian. U.S. Champion. Tag Team with Shawn. So he has a tag team with Shawn Michaels and and then also with Dude Love. The tag team
Intercontinental
with Shawn
in
Michaels just
97.
before he won the title.
Yep. He had 2 runs with the IC championship in 97 before he went on to the world title in 98.
Okay, there you go.
He also, of course, had the WCW US Championship and the Television Championship, both of their mid-cards first, too. It is the progression. And so we're not saying that you need to shotgun LA Knight all the way up to the main event, have him be the world champion right now. Although the dude is 40.
He's strike while the fire's hot.
Over his fuck.
Yeah.
Right. Give him some heat. Give him some belt.
Sell some fucking t-shirts.
Make some
Be the
fucking
pisshead
money.
t-shirt company for a while.
Well, I mean, he already is selling some fucking t-shirts.
He's selling a bunch, but here's the deal.
Sell a title.
I'm
put
I'm
a
going
title
to,
on it that says yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm going to advocate for something
championship.
that I never thought I'd advocate for. But if anyone needs a custom title, it's him, right?
It says just yeah on it.
Just the fucking.
Let me talk to you on the top.
Mhm.
WWE, let me talk to you. Yeah. And then whatever that third catchphrase is, because he's got a third. I can't remember what it is.
In TNA, he did dummy a lot, and so dummy.
I felt like
Or you can just at the
But he
bottom
also does-
L-A
Yeah.
9.
Yeah, he also does nah.
right. That's it.
Nah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Let me talk
Think
to
you're
you.
better than me? No.
Or is it not talk to you? It's talk at you. Let me talk.
I'm so happy the fans always did kind of like him, but when he first kind of came in, they weren't
With
really into it
everybody
yet.
saying,
In fact, hey, 9. I'm not entirely over on his in-ring work. I don't care about his in-ring
doesn't
work.
matter. Hey, here's the deal. Some people are going to say this is blasphemy me saying it. I've got his book right behind me. The Rock was never
I
the
was gonna
best
say.
in-ring wrestler.
Yeah.
No.
Right?
He was better than LA Knight, but he's
Might have
still
been better
the
than LA
best
Knight.
in-ring worker.
But he
What
was
The
not
Rock
the best.
always was the best on the
Entertaining.
mic. And LA Knight is really
Getting
good
good.
on the mic.
And in the end, right, I'm not even saying I like him necessarily. I'm saying that he is the best move for your company to make
Absolutely.
lots of fucking money.
There are you missed your spot with Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm.
Who that one all you had to do is change when you made the storyline. Like if you know that you're gonna keep Roman on the title until blah blah date, whatever date.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've decided it's 1,000 days. Take these 6 or 7 opportunities to get out from Roman on the title, and just move them.
Yeah.
Just move them down the line.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you got to do. With the exception of Cody. Cody's the only one that was time sensitive.
Well, and I think this is the problem though, because you're still going to be they still clearly want to tell the story of Cody beating the best and getting that Hollywood moment, if you will, storyline. So, and the only person he can really do that against, I would say, would be against Roman, because no one has ever beaten him.
There's not a person on this podcast that doesn't think that Cody beating Roman is the only way you can make up for Cody not beating Roman. Not a person on this podcast.
No.
Because
here's
the world champion, the WWE championship. You can't do
I
Survivor
think
Series.
Seth would maybe
Cody-
come the closest to that.
Cody
because of
beating
their feud.
Roman at WrestleMania is the only way you make up for Cody not beating Roman at WrestleMania.
Yeah. And the thing is, it will never be as big as
As the last
WrestleMania
time.
Hollywood. Right?
Right.
Because the next WrestleMania is what? Fucking
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia?
Which I guess American Nightmare, Liberty Bell, first U.S. Capitol. Okay, maybe.
Maybe, except he's from Atlanta. Made a big deal about it today or this week.
Welcome to Atlanta. Sorry, didn't mean to start a song.
But
Yeah,
but that's the deal. They really this should have been
they are now on their
LA Knight.
third story that is fire in a bottle, lightning in a bottle. Third one, because Jey Uso is lightning in a bottle right now. Roman is not creating this lightning in a bottle. The desire to see Roman lose and the exceptional people across from him are creating the lightning in a bottle. Because pre-Sami Zayn, I don't remember who that guy was.
Yeah. I mean, here's the deal.
I don't remember who the last feud was.
I know that they sent Drew McIntyre at him at one point. I don't know how long ago it was.
But I wasn't like, this needs to be the thing.
Right. I remember
They've sent Roman at him, or Brock at him, what, 2-3 times?
Yeah, the last
And
time
that
they
didn't
said
need
you
to
could
be
never
the
do
thing.
it again. They did Finn Balor, and
That might have been the last one.
That
And
was
they-
the last one
And
that
they
I thought.
botched that so badly. Which we
I
wanted
never
it to be the
finished
thing.
that story.
But the
They
story,
never finished the story.
the story wasn't built to make that the last one.
No,
make
it
that
wasn't.
the one.
But they still never finished the story because remember, Finn Balor lost because the ring ropes fell apart,
Yeah, just give us the reason.
and they never gave us a reason, right? And all they would have had to have done is just film some grainy security camera footage that showed Jey Uso or Jimmy Uso messing with
Rigging
the
the ring.
turnbuckle,
Yep.
prior to the match or whatever.
A person rigging the ring.
A person in what looks like red Nike Airs and a hoodie.
I don't think he was wearing red then.
It
I
would
feel like
matter,
the red.
Okay. Somebody in a
But
hoodie
no, yeah.
and sweatpants
Yeah, exactly.
with a 5'11" to 6'2" build.
Still can't believe they got away
Can't
with
tell
not
who they
explaining what happened there.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
they
that
did-
probably
Well,
was
because
the last
we all saw it. I mean, they can't even be faked. We all saw it and went,
Yeah,
Yeah.
something happened.
that's janky as all get out.
Yeah. Why did that happen? I mean, there's got to be a reason, right? It's
But
not just that
That
God wanted
storytelling,
him to win. Heck,
that storytelling,
I
with
would
the
have
exception of
preferred
the
it.
demon, the only part of that was really bad was having the demon lose. So you just make it normal Finn Balor. That storytelling works fine, and you can still have the Finn Balor loss. And I'm really not mad about it, even though I'm a huge Finn Balor fan. The storytelling problem is in the 3 storytellings that were all lightning in a bottle 3 times in a row in 2023, and you have pissed all over it.
I am mad about it for Finn Balor because it was the demon.
Yes,
Because this was their
you
chance.
take the demon out of that equation, and you're fine. What you did was fine.
Yeah, this was their chance to try to rebuild the demon, right? But now, in 2 of the most recent appearances of the demon, he's lost.
Yeah.
The previously unbeatable demon is now 100% beatable.
very much beatable. Yeah.
Not really all that scary.
And so you could have at least I really would have given it better marks if they would have come out on the next episode of Raw or SmackDown and Roman said God wanted me to win. Because that's at least the fucking reason. You know what I mean?
That would have been good.
The buckle goes out from under him because of God.
The tribal gods were looking out for me.
Yeah.
Would have been great.
But no, they just whatever.
It doesn't matter which God you serve. That God wants me to be
Acknowledges me.
Acknowledges me. Whether you're
That
a
would've been
God
great.
or a demon, you acknowledge me.
Charlotte Flair versus Io Sky. Of course, Flair's got to get the victory.
Here's the deal. Don't hate it before she uses that suitcase. She's the right one to win. Whether it's over Asuka or whether it's over Rhea, she's the right one to win. They have that briefcase on the right person, and boy, have we seen some great heel work from her in NXT. I don't care who she uses that briefcase on, though.
I think the real storytelling for it is
Asuka's playing second fiddle to everybody, even though she's the champ.
no. I think it's Bayley wins the championship,
And Io turns on her.
and Io turns on her and cashes in on her.
Bayley's got her own set of problems, which we're going to talk about because it's SmackDown.
Mm-hmm. Santos Escobar versus Austin Theory.
Non-title match.
Non-title
Challenged
match.
by Theory.
This match garnered a lot of attention online because a report came out earlier in the week that WWE was really eyeing the idea of a Latino superstar winning one of their titles. And everyone's like, oh, Santos Escobar, he's in line to face the U.S. title. And I want to say, you've got a Latino superstar carrying the Money in the Bank on Raw already, right? Yeah. We don't need to dig to. I like Santos Escobar.
It doesn't
fine.
count. Damian Priest speaks very good English, so he's Puerto Rican. It doesn't
according
count.
to Vince, he doesn't count.
Yeah.
He's
not
Puerto
part-
Rican.
Hey,
He's
listen.
Puerto Rican and he's from the States. He doesn't count.
If
What
he's
are you
not part of
talking about?
LWO, he doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't have Latino on his
Wait,
tight.
hold on. We have a Latino guy and he's not in this Latin group.
Yeah, he's
Don't you guys
obviously
remember
not.
we're segregating the roster?
Yeah, seriously. Put him in the group. Pull him out of the
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Stick him with Los Lotharios now. Put them all in LWO. We're going to start a whole show.
At
And
least
it's
Los
gonna be-
Lotharios would get more TV time.
It's going to be Saturday
if they
night
stick to NXT, it's not
LWO.
bad.
It's going to be exclusively LWO wrestlers on it.
And we'll make a WWE Network Latino
Thank you, Eric.
section. Well, they probably have that, actually.
We'll call it Latino Heat.
Oh,
Oh my god.
where they lie, cheat, and steal
Please,
to gain your views.
Please, Vince, do not watch this podcast.
Sunday Night Latino Heat.
Latino
You hear that,
Heat.
Trips? That's some good shit.
We're gonna get sued.
The entire roster is just Latino people. Just the entire roster.
WWE had a whole lot of
El
LWO.
Generico comes back just because there's an all Latino roster.
They see if they can get sequel pay out of retirement.
You think we can get Conan here?
Yeah.
Fun will go wherever there's money. And then in the main event, Dom Dom defended his NXT North American Championship against Butch.
Almost referred to as Pete Dunne by HBK,
Yeah.
which was really entertaining.
Really came close. So, like, my boy Butch here.
Yeah, Butch. This,
will
I can
definitely-
make this official. Hold on, I gotta put a frog in my throat. Our commercial is official. Then it sounds a little bit more like Shawn Michaels.
And then the final, interestingly enough, the main event was not the final segment. The final segment was the rules of engagement / contract signing that didn't end up having any contract sign.
Nope.
For
Jay Uso likes to rip
Jay-
things.
Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. And Jey Uso said, we don't need no contract because this is tribal warfare. Tribal combat. I think it's tribal
That's it.
combat, right?
Tribal combat, yeah.
And Roman goes, wait, they said that?
Tribal
combat.
combat.
I was like, yeah. So, we're supposed to, I guess, put together that tribal combat is something put together by the other tribal chiefs, and has, like, I don't know, some rules that make it a no rules sort of a thing, but has to have the titles on the line. And I guess the tribal chief on the line. I don't know.
Yeah, because he puts the Ulafa there
Yeah.
on the belt, so it's a two-parter belt plus the tribal chief, who becomes the tribal chief. Which, I mean, I really hope Jay wins, but
Jay's not going to win. There ain't no way.
Yeah, this might be lightning in the bottle, but I don't know that you want to cash in on this lightning in the bottle.
There's no way. The only thing that could lead to Jay winning would be a solo turning on Roman.
Here's the one place you can have Jay win. You can have Jay win, but because he tore up that contract, he doesn't have a title shot. It's just a match. And so now he's the tribal chief, but he does not win the title.
Yeah.
That could work, yeah.
You could do it, because, I mean, this
We
is
would all
wrestling.
be pissed off.
They could do whatever. But they very, very heavily implied on this that because it was tribal warfare, everything is on the line.
Fair enough.
And so, now, again, this is wrestling. They could say whatever they want. And this is specifically a heel wrestler. He could say, No, I didn't. In fact, that's my favorite thing of the last couple weeks. Was when they had the trial of Roman Reigns, and they did all of the evidence on screen of all of the ways he treated them badly, and Roman Reigns responded with, "No, I didn't. We just showed you doing it. Not me. You made me do that." So he could do it. I think what more than happens, and this is the thing that the my suspension of disbelief leaves my body for a short period anytime this happens, because I go, wait. You're picking a fight with a big bully who's bigger than you, who's already beat you up many a times before, right? He's obviously the bad guy. He's got muscle right next to him that's not afraid to interfere in a match. And you're specifically choosing a match type that allows all of that stuff to happen with no consequences. And you think this is putting it in your favor, right? Anytime there's a no rules match or a extreme rules match, it favors the heel. That's the reason heel champions often would choose them, is because then they can have their minions interfere and not have to worry about anything. So I guarantee you, as long as Solo stays on Roman's side, Roman wins this match, right? The only way Jay wins is if Solo betrays Roman, which could happen. That could be the storyline they're telling. I just don't think it is, but it could.
I mean, after Roman did stop Solo from hitting Jay, and then Jay getting the super kick on him on Solo, that could maybe, we'll see. Because when is SummerSlam? It's like late August.
Just a couple more weeks, I think. But
so there's still going to be some stories to tell there, but that could be something leading up to, like, Roman is always getting involved when Solo wants to help Roman out, and Solo just kind of getting fed up, so it could be. We're going to have to see the fall of the bloodline. I don't want to wait till Mania 5th. To see the fall of the bloodline. Oh, August 5th. Oh, it's coming.
That's just 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks. So, but moving on, AEW's Blood and Guts episode of Dynamite.
Blood and Guts.
Started off with a bang. I always forget how long Blood and Guts matches are, so I'm always watching the episode of Dynamite.
Like, why are they on the last match?
And then I'm all of a sudden like, yo, they're starting this match this final match early. And then I'm like, wait, no, it's a Blood and Guts match. There's 10 wrestlers. 8 of them have to wait 5 minutes between entries.
They sure didn't give the women's match very long there, did they? Oh, wait, never mind. That's because they have to spend an hour on one of the matches.
Yeah. One of the matches takes an hour, so they have to rush everything else. Started off with FTW Championship, Hook, the champion, defending against Jungle Boy Jack Perry. No longer Jungle Boy, now just Jack Perry.
Except for
he
murdered somebody.
Murdered somebody, apparently, and dressed him in his old clothes.
Physically impossible to murder yourself, bury yourself, and then also be there.
Yes.
Well, Jack Perry can do it.
So somebody got murdered and buried. I don't know who.
Resurrected Jungle Boy.
Yes. That's a different long-haired bearded guy.
Very different, yes.
He had to wait a few days before he came back.
Jack Perry did it like that. In fact, he got out of the desert in like 2 minutes.
It was a very fast drive. Very, very fast.
I did not like that open.
I didn't hate it.
There's a better way to say Jungle Boy's dead than to, like, fake murder yourself.
I would have. I think I mentioned this on Thursday, because some of this stuff we didn't talk about on Thursday. But I would have preferred more of a toss him in a barrel, light him on fire.
Just take your old gear and throw it away. That's
my point. Like basically, what I'm imagining for the nerds out there is that scene from the Spider-Man comic book where Peter Parker throws the spider suit in a barrel in the trash in an alley and walks away. That's what I was doing. Maybe if you want to add it, have him light it on fire in the barrel. then
Sure.
walk away, whatever, you know. But that's a good way. But this way, with him burying somebody, I mean, canonically speaking, Jungle Boy committed murder, right?
Yes.
Somebody's dead and buried.
And we're to assume that it's himself,
But
but he's still there.
he's still there,
So
so
it's probably somebody else.
got to be somebody else. And importantly, either he paid that person to put on his clothes first, and then murdered him, which is premeditation, or he murdered them and then undressed them and put on his outfit on them, which is
Creepy.
fucking creepy.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's BTK shit right there.
So, anyways, Jungle Boy, Jack Perry ends up winning the FTW championship, new champion for the fake championship, the fakest of the fake championship.
I recently discovered, in fact, during that match, that my son is an absolute mark. He's asking me who the good guy is and who the bad guy is. He's like, that guy looks like he was a good guy. Well, he was.
Yeah.
That guy looks kind of fun. He says he has a 1920s haircut. I have no clue where Hook gets a 1920s haircut in my kid's eyes, but that's what he thought all of a sudden. And he's like, yeah, go Hook, yeah. He's never watched a Hook or a Jack Perry match before in his life.
It wasn't a bad match. I will say this. It was not a bad match.
No.
Hook got in some good moves. Hook always is fun watching him throw someone around. But Jack Perry got the victory in the end, giving Hook his first defeat in AEW and giving Jack Perry a fake championship. Like I said, the fakest of the fake championships, because it's got, like, it was created by Taz because he didn't have another championship in ECW. So he's like, I'm going to create my own championship. And then he's just kind of kept it and carried it around ever since then.
In a creepy sort of way.
Yeah.
It's like buying yourself an engagement ring and like, look at me.
that. Look at what my girlfriend, you wouldn't know her. She's from Canada.
Oh my god.
Welcome, JOB. But no,
that does bring up a question. JLB, where do people up in Canada make their imaginary girlfriends come from?
Trinidad and Tobago. I know this because I used a proxy once.
Yeah. They definitely use some other place outside of North America. That's for
Trinidad
sure.
and Tobago is technically North America, but it is one of the southernmost countries in North America.
Yes.
Because it is in the Caribbean and
It is. Okay, fair.
yeah, closer to northern South America than it is to just about any other North American country. But unless it's south of the Panama Canal and physically touching South America, it is a North American country.
Snap. Well, there you go.
Odd
Nice.
little fact for you. All of Latin America is North America.
I wish you could meet my girlfriend.
I'm
my
sorry.
girlfriend who lives in Canada.
All of non-South American Latin America is North America.
She
Which is
couldn't
really
be
weird to
sweeter.
say.
I wish you could meet her. My girlfriend who lives in Canada.
Anyway, the Jack Perry match was good. Are we renaming the snare trap when it happens? I mean, he's got to still use that moveset, right?
I mean, he's a bad guy, so bad guys often use different movesets, and the snare trap is, I don't know, kind of a face move, so I wouldn't be
Submission
surprised if he got a different,
Just stops using it.
stops using it for now, uses a different one or something. I don't know. It's
I
going to be
don't
interesting.
know. I'm curious to see how well he plays as a heel. Right now,
Yeah.
it's fine, but heel's a long-term
So-
thing.
So here's the deal. I was thinking about this, right? And I think Tony Khan needs to understand and play with the crowds a little bit, right? So he had someone who was super over as a babyface about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, right? Super over as a babyface. And his girlfriend was super over as a babyface. And then they put them together on screen, and everyone fucking hated them, right? And booed them, and so much that they both had to turn heel. Jack Perry came out not this week, but the week before, and giving his "I'm a bad guy" speech 2 weeks ago, he mentioned that he's, quote, banging the hottest girl in AEW, which we all know is referring to Anna Jay. So just fucking put them together. She's already a heel. She's barely being used in the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Jericho Appreciation
He's a
Society is
heel
pretty
already.
much breaking up.
Yeah.
Officially a heel.
He's officially a heel now. Just lean into it and have them come in and basically give the Sammy Guevara Ty Conti
Put them
gimmick.
together as a 4-way and just call them the Hot Effers group.
Ty's not going to be wrestling for at least 9 months.
Okay, but you can still have them as a group. Be like, I'm gonna go home, bang my hot wife. She's pregnant. I can't. She can't get more pregnant. You know what I'm saying?
The reason they're not going to do that is I think they're obviously booking Sammy now as a face.
Fair enough.
Which now that his wife isn't there and the crowd doesn't hate seeing them together, they're liking him. Whether Daniel Garcia starts to become a face, I don't know. I think his dance moves are super over, and
oh my god,
people love him.
That whole segment, like I had to hear about it for 3 days. This is the first time I've got my kid to actually sit down and watch AEW other than a pay-per-view. He always asks for WWE. It makes sense. They tell more kid-friendly storylines, and I don't have to explain certain things. So he's like, well, why don't we watch WWE tonight? And I'm like, we're not gonna. We're gonna watch AEW. I'm letting you stay up. Shut up. Anyway, boy, he was all about that MJF and Daniel Garcia dance off. That was fantastic.
It was ludicrous and cringy at times, and every bit what I needed it to be.
My kid did hip thrust in the kitchen this morning before church. That's the kind of kid I'm raising right now.
My favorite thing about it was Adam Cole being super not wanting to be a part of it.
And then super creepy doing it.
And then going out there and doing it, and then the music stops and he keeps hip thrusting.
But Garcia even doing it on Death Before Dishonor was also still pretty hilarious. When he did it with...
anyway...
Now,
there's a match between those two, though, that we have to talk about, isn't there?
We'll get to it in just a little second.
Okay.
I will point out, though, someone put a video up on TikTok of Daniel Garcia and then spliced it with another video. And once you see it, especially if you were a fan of 90s wrestling, you will never not see it again.
Alex Wright?
Alex Wright.
Oh, boy.
They spliced Daniel Garcia doing his little dance thing with Alex Wright as he comes to the ring, and but that being said, I liked Alex Wright in the 90s, so yeah,
I'll take it.
Britt Baker destroyed must have been a good independent wrestler, but barely got any offense, and what was her name, Kayla Sparks, tapped out to the lockjaw. The final, this is the one you're referring to, the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament. MJF and Adam Cole versus Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia started off with a dance-off. Daniel Garcia in the ring did his little hip thrust dance to MJF. MJF decided to mock him and do it back. Daniel Garcia did it again. MJF did it again. Every time the referee, after it was done, the referee started to go like, ring the bell, and someone would stop him and do it again. They're like, okay, you're done now. Ring the bell. Nope, stop. And then finally, MJF said, no. And he got out of the ring. He said, do you want to dance off? And he went over. And apparently, like, there's just a music cue board at ringside that he knows how to operate and just press a button and get random disco music on it.
Yeah, without an entry music.
Yeah.
With music that should not be on that board.
Yeah. It's like, and it apparently cued disco lights, too. I mean, these are all things that apparently they just set
one
up.
button.
All to one button. That's the disco button. But anyways, and they did a dance off.
This is our total break of suspension of disbelief. We're just going to point out those breaks.
Yeah.
This episode, apparently.
I'm going to point out that for a guy who's got Latino heritage, calls himself the Spanish God, is obviously very athletic, super athletic, a very coordinated wrestler. Sammy Guevara is not a good dancer.
Apparently has a good enough rhythm to make a baby.
Yeah, apparently. Although I don't know. You don't necessarily need that good a rhythm. I mean, how much rhythm can you display in 7 pumps? You know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Done. But anyways, so the dance-off happened. We kind of talked about it there. Ended with Adam Cole finally getting coerced to be involved, and then creepily hip thrusting until the music went off. And yeah, it was so bad. But MJF and Adam Cole played the baby faces throughout a lot of this match. And
it was very undefined who the babyface. I mean, again, when you have a person who's never watched before, knows nothing about it, and he's trying to figure out how the bad guy is the good guy, that's how good MJF and Adam Cole are playing this right now. Because really, they're both heels, like career heels.
Yes,
and great at it. And they were the
Who are great heels? Adam Cole and MJF.
Yes.
Are they though? Like you're saying now, but
no, over their careers.
Oh, over their career. Okay, fair. Yeah.
Yeah. No, right now they're over as all.
No, they're over. I'm like they're baby face galore.
You didn't want to talk more about Britt Baker staring right in the camera and putting her finger in somebody's mouth?
I talked about it a bit on Thursday, but I can talk some more about it. This girl knows where the cameras are.
That's all we got out of this match. Like that's.
It was literally it was so short
dialogue you can do.
But it was like literally, I know where the camera's at. Boom, right at the camera. Smile at the camera. Stick her finger in someone. I mean, we talk about Rhea Ripley awakening fetishes on the weekly, but I don't know. There might be a fetish awakening there with.
Oh my god! You go to a dentist and get aroused. I kind of want to hear about it on the podcast.
I kind of do not want that to happen. I can't explain it. Wait, no, I can't explain it.
Well, Mark.
Looks
like you have a couple cavities here. Could you
just,
say that in a higher voice, Doc?
Just a wrestler who's a dentist, and she's really good looking, and she sticks her hands in pieces of knowledge, and that's the reason.
Little suction here, please.
And see.
Oh.
In the end, MJF and Adam Cole were finally able to hit the double clothesline.
That was fantastic.
Hey.
I don't know that I've ever cheered for a double clothesline more in my life.
Yeah. They missed it earlier, and you're like, no.
They missed it 3 times.
Yeah. And then they finally got it, and you're like, yeah, double clothesline. The next move I want them to make as their tag team move is a double axe handle. Because that is, in my opinion, the dumbest move in all of professional wrestling. I'm going to jump off the second rope, and I'm going to put my hands together like this and bonk you maybe on the head with it.
Hey, it worked great in Ready to Rumble. All right.
It did work in Ready to Rumble. You are aware of the plot of that movie, though, right? How it's all about wrestling being scripted, and these 2 yokels believe it to be real.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's a good movie. It'll be on our botch-along list. I guarantee.
It definitely will be for sure.
It led to
the one wrestling movie I want to avoid. that I may want to avoid in the first season is The Wrestler. I'm not.
Have you ever seen The Wrestler?
No.
It's really good, but
It's a really good movie.
You
Like
might
the new
be
one
right.
you're talking about.
Yeah, the new one with Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
It's really good. It is a little depressing, so I can understand reticence to watch it. Because Randy the Ram's life is not an easy life. But it also is a fairly good representation of
the life they led in the 70s and 80s, early 90s. Before Nash and Hall changed it all.
I also, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do them live reactions, but I will be trying to do at least some sort of reactions, whether it's here or on TikTok, to season 2 of Heels on Stars, which is a wrestling show. If you have not watched it, season 1 was excellent. CM Punk appeared in it. Other
and
professional
will appear
wrestlers
on the second season as
will
well.
appear. AJ Lee
is also going to be there too. Yeah,
appears as well. Other wrestlers have appeared, but I'm trying to remember who all has been in it. Season 1 was really good. If you haven't seen it, I do highly recommend it.
In regards to television shows about pro wrestling, better or worse than Ms. and Mrs.?
Better. I mean, it's a scripted show.
It's a scripted show, so it's kind of different, yeah.
So it's definitely going to be better then.
Yeah, it is. It is a scripted show about a small town wrestling federation that family run. Stephen Amell plays the son of the previous owner, who has taken over running it after his father, the hometown star and good guy owner of the promotion, committed suicide. He takes over it. His younger brother is also in it, but there's so many great things. But it 100% breaks down the concept of professional wrestling being scripted storyline, right? They don't try to hide it all of it being real or anything, except for there are times in it where things outside have affected a person's mood. And so I will spoil one moment for you, but there is a scene where one of the wrestlers gets angry at another wrestler for stuff happening outside of the ring and breaks his arm inside the ring because of it. But
I thought maybe you would say for another wrestler for throwing potatoes or something.
I'm trying to see if there are any other wrestlers that I knew that popped up in it, and who knows, maybe. So, but it's a fun show, so I will try to at least make some effort to talk about it a little bit. I will be respectful though, because this is in the middle of both the writer and the actor strike in America, and there is some modicum of respect that I have to treat on that, so they may be delayed for a bit or something. I don't know. We'll get that figured out. But anyways, after the Adam Cole and MJF winning that, they got to go face to face with FTR, and that match will be coming up. And then finally, Blood and Guts Golden Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club.
I don't think you also mentioned the fact that Chris Jericho was seen talking to Don Callis. They were having lunch together and all that.
Yeah,
so
that's
I did not mention that. You're correct.
Kind of pretty telling. So that's kind of cool. That's still
also
well. The big thing was after this match, when Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara went to leave, they walked right past Chris Jericho, who was trying to greet them at the top of the ramp. So, like you said, JAS is probably more or less dead, but they haven't officially done. So, then finally, the Blood and Guts match. And I'm not going to go beat for beat through this because it was an hour of professional wrestling, and a lot of it was just waiting for another person to get in. I will point out that fairly early on, John Moxley brought out a bucket full of glass for them to hurt people with.
And a plank with nails.
And a board full of nails, like a bed of nails, like you would see in a circus. There were plenty of tables, plenty of like barbed wire sort of things. And then at one point, the forks, yep.
That's the first thing Moxley brought out. He brought those to the ring with him. And just enough forks for his whole team to have a fork.
Yep.
And they forked up the Elite.
They said, fork you, Elite.
Fork you in the forehead, fork you on the top of the head.
They were going to be forsaken.
But then at one point on the top of the blood and guts cage, because, heaven forbid people stay inside of a cage. Right. You had Matt Jackson and
Wheeler, wasn't it?
Wheeler Yuta, was it?
I think Wheeler was up there.
Yeah, I think it was Wheeler Yuta, yeah.
And it looked like Matt was going to try to Northern Light suplex Wheeler off the side of it. But Wheeler was able to turn it around into a back body drop and then climbed the fuck down because top of that is fucking scary.
It was a bad idea.
Right.
But that left Matt up there all by himself for him to remember, oh, hey, underneath my jacket, I had this cloth bag full of thumbtacks. Is that where it was? Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering where he had gotten it. I'm like, where the
fuck is this? Because that totally became, hey, Tony, we got this bag of thumbtacks. Where should we put them?
On top of the ring.
On top of the cage.
No, if you look, he had like a jacket on, and he pulled it out of one of the pockets of his jacket, which means he was wrestling with thumbtacks in his pocket, and that couldn't have been comfortable.
Well, at least that's what they're implying. He did go up the ramp earlier and attack, not Kota Ibushi, because that was the guy on his team. The other one is
Takeshita.
Attack Takeshita, so there's a very good possibility that's when he got the tacks. But the implication to us is, I was wrestling with tacks in my pocket.
And then he rained them down on the people below who were setting up for back body drops onto the thumbtacks.
Yeah, the bottom line is they were being set up. His partners were being set up. And he rained down tacks. And then his partners, you could be setting up your partners to be taking a powerbomb into tacks.
Yeah. He was like, fuck it, I don't care. Whoever's down there gets hit, we got tax this time. That's what's going to happen. The match ended in an interesting way.
I would agree.
I do not think in the entire history of Blood and Guts / War Games matches, as far as I know, we have never had one end in this particular way, which was two of the members of one of the team deuced out. First it was Pac. Pac got into an argument with Cesaro and
Claudio.
Claudio.
Cesaro's dead to us now.
Cesaro's dead. You are correct. Claudio Castagnoli. Said, nope, that's it. I'm out, and got under the ring. And apparently, in a cage match, they just keep bolt cutters inside the ring. Because that makes perfect sense.
In a well-known location.
Yeah. Just, hey, everybody, in this ring, in this cage that you're supposed to not know how to get out because we've locked it, there are bolt cutters underneath the ring right next to the entrance. Right here. Anyways. But so, I did want to laugh, though. Speaking about breaking kayfabe and stuff like that during it, I was watching as he cut the chain to get out, and I noticed that the chain was held together on the outside by a carabiner. Not a locking carabiner, a carabiner. And then the lock was on this side. And so it was chain, lock, carabiner, more chain. So it really was just a carabiner. Like, he could have just reached through and undid it,
Yeah.
you know, and got out. I mean, they might as well just use zip ties for all that matters.
What? It's never happened before.
They've never used zip ties.
Especially on a cage with a roof.
Yes, never, ever, 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 ever have there been zip ties involved in a cage.
There wasn't on the first cage with a roof that we saw. There wasn't on the second cage with a roof that we saw.
Never. Nope.
Didn't happen.
Never, ever, 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 ever.
It's not. There's feats of strength to rip off a door.
It did.
Probably the first time they have used zip ties was during the Taker Mankind Hell in a Cell match.
No, in
Nope.
fact, they did it in the Hell in a the first
The
time.
very first one. Because that's how Kane ripped the doors off. Is because they were zip tied.
Oh snap! Okay. Because I remember
They did in that one
making
have
Taker
to
mention-
adjust the hinges during it so that it was no longer hinged, and the zip ties held it because that's how he pulled the door off rather than pulled the door open. So they went in and adjusted the hinges later. Because otherwise your latch would have held it.
Yeah,
in
they
place.
probably just pulled the pins out of the hinges.
Yes. But they had to do that discreetly and act as though there was a problem.
But
Which all that means is Taker and HBK
Distract
had a spot
people
on the other
listening.
side of the ring.
yeah. And then people just discreetly kind of go up and be like, oh, what's this? Whoa. Yeah. Anyways, but yes, no, they definitely used them in the Mankind Undertaker. I am happy that Mankind and Undertaker have stopped pretending that the roof spots were not pre-decided, pre-planned.
Well, I do find it funny on their 25th anniversary review. They're like, I don't remember that this is supposed to have zip ties, but if this is where we're gonna do it, let's do it. Like they knew he was supposed to go through. They thought that it was supposed to be a gradual break.
Yeah, so
a gradual break.
he lands on it, and it shakes, and then breaks. And so he has basically two falls. One from here to here, and then one from here to there, you know? But this ended up being one long fall. But you can see the zip ties on the ground next to Mankind. They're just there. Nothing you can say about it. Anyways, but so Pac walks out after cutting open the door instead of using the carabiner. Which, for some reason or other, did not count as a surrender.
I mean, everyone.
why
got
would it,
on the
though?
roof.
Exactly. Yeah, they would have.
But
already
he
stopped
didn't
it.
just leave. He left the wrestling zone.
I mean, that's technically tapping out. I'm quitting.
That's
I said I quit by walking out.
Yep. But it did not count. And then, in something that could have been portrayed better, Don Callis came out onto the ring, onto the steps, the ramp, and called for Takeshita to leave because he could see that the odds were stacked against Takeshita now, and I'm going to save my boy, my golden goose. Which left...
Which was really hard to see Callis on the camera angles.
Yeah, we just didn't see it. All of a sudden, we just saw Takeshita leaving, and it wasn't until he got halfway up the ramp we could tell that Callis was there. But that's fine. That also did not count as a surrender, apparently.
Nope.
But that left Blackpool Combat Club 3-5. Then Moxley got handcuffed to the middle ropes so that he could not come over and help them as they beat the fuck out of Wheeler Yuta. And then wrapped a chain around his throat and started fucking killing him. Because there is no ambiguity around what they were trying to do, right? Like, a sleeper hold or rear naked choke is designed to put someone to sleep. But wrapping a chain around their neck
It's designed to kill the person.
that's the way to kill someone.
It's designed to cut off all oxygen.
But
Oxygen to the brain.
at that point, the second in the camera miscues happened, which was the camera was on Wheeler Yuta getting strangled, and no one in production apparently knew that the plan was for Jon Moxley to submit or give up or quit or whatever he ended up doing. So much so that even the announcers thought that Wheeler Yuta submitted or quit or something, until later they're like, oh, we're being told that Jon Moxley surrendered to save his friend Wheeler Yuta. And that's one of those situations where AEW's fledgling, and it's hard to say fledgling to a company that's been around for 4 years, but fledgling production crew, comparatively speaking, missed out that I do not think WWE's production crew would have missed. They would have been.
I feel like there would have been cameras on Moxley. Like, if you know that the action that ends the match is going to happen away from it, WWE doesn't miss that.
They would have, at very least, gone to split screen.
Yeah.
Wheeler Yuta, just like we're on right now.
Well,
Wheeler Yuta in my screen
and
being strangled, and then a close-up of an anguished Jon Moxley going, no.
If you watch Moxley, you don't get a lot of animation from him out of it. Like he's like, yeah, we quit.
Yeah.
If you go back and rewatch it, it's...
Yeah. But, like...
What can I do?
Like, we saw this not too long ago in WWE. Was not Seth Rollins handcuffed to the ropes while his wife Becky was beaten not too long ago?
Nope, it wasn't Seth. It was
Seth?
That was Edge and Beth.
Didn't they also do it with Seth then later? I thought for certain.
It would have had to have been earlier because the Seth Becky thing was gone away from almost immediately after it started.
No, this was recent, within the last year, within the last 6 months, I want to say, where they handcuffed. I thought it was Seth. This was more recent than the Edge thing.
Edge Beth thing?
The Edge Beth thing. This was more recent because I think it was Judgment Day. I think it was Judgment Day attacking Becky, but I'm not certain. It was something like that, but they handcuffed.
That certainly becomes a Judgment Day mantra then, if that's the case. But regardless, we've seen this before.
Oh no, I know what I was thinking. It wasn't. It was on AEW. It was Adam Cole and Britt Baker. That's what I was thinking of.
Oh yeah.
That's what the more recent one was. That's what I was thinking of. But for that they did it better because they had focus on Britt Baker, but they also had focus on Adam Cole.
And the angle. No, please anything.
Yes, I'll do anything. I'll do anything.
You didn't, and again, that's not really Moxley's personality. Moxley's personality is to continue to fight, but when he can't fight anymore and somebody's going to die, I quit.
Yeah.
All right, our fight's over. Tap out.
Yeah.
There you go.
Show him throwing a towel or something, but like I said, have a split screen. So on my screen is Wheeler Yuta going, and your screen is Moxley going.
Yeah, that actually would have told the story a little bit better too. So you can see both their faces and Moxley being all like distraught and concerned for his friend.
Give us a little bit of time of Moxley's indecision.
But, anyways, and then after the cameras went off, Kota Ibushi did a back bump onto the attacks and a bunch of
and got the win.
neck beards.
Crazy.
No, they ruined my suspension of disbelief, even though I didn't see it until someone posted a video online later.
Mine that ruined my. You self-obsessed jerk. Let it go.
Oh, Bruno Sammartino wouldn't have done that.
God dang right he wouldn't have.
You're watching a show with an actual living dinosaur on it. Do you think Bruno Sammartino would have wrestled against someone who claimed to be a dinosaur? Fucking times have changed.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on to Rampage. Rampage was filmed after, or maybe before Dynamite. I'm not sure. But it was filmed with the dual rings, and they did the Royal Rampage. Winner gets a shot at the TNT Championship at All Out. All Out specifically, not All In. That's the match that started off, and it was Battle Royal, kind of like a Royal Rumble with staggered entry. There were a lot of people in it. I don't even remember everyone. I know Minoru Suzuki was there, and Brian Cage, and Nick Wayne. Anyways, in the end, Darby Allin won. So Darby Allin's going to face off with Christian Cage. Oh, wait, no, I mean the literal dinosaur Luchasaurus at All Out. The Acclaimed versus QTV. The Acclaimed won. QTV is basically there to lose. That's fine. Chris Statlander versus The Problem, Marina Shafir. They've stopped calling her The Problem, apparently, which is fine because she hasn't been much of a problem for anyone, so, you know. But Chris Statlander retained. And that was kind of it for Rampage. Because it's a 1 hour show, and you start off with a Rumble match.
Who ended up winning the Royal Rampage?
Darby.
Oh, snap. Okay. Totally missed the Royal Rampage. I'm like, I hope it was good. Then didn't even forgot to look at the results afterwards.
And then we move on to Collision. Collision has some things that happened at it that are very interesting to talk about. So to start off, Action Andretti and Darius Martin versus Bullet Club Gold. Now, I want to point out that just a few months ago, everyone was online saying that AEW had botched their push for Jay White already, and that Jay White's probably wishing he'd gone to WWE instead or whatever. I hope they all choke on their words right now, because AEW is really pushing the fuck out of Jay White, and the new Bullet Club Gold looks fucking awesome. And the Guns look amazing in it, and Juice Robinson looks good in it, and it's a lot of fun, and they're ruthless, and they win. So, guess what? They won. Then afterwards, before that, of course, they had Ricky Starks come out, and then CM Punk came out and said, "I'm not mad at you, Ricky, for cheating, but you know you couldn't have beaten me without cheating." Then Christian and Luchasaurus and Darby Allin all came out, and eventually, guess what? We're gonna have a tag team, playa. Wait, no, that's the wrong show.
Wrong show.
Yeah. But it was gonna be a tag team later on. Miro came out and had actually a decently competitive match against someone. It was not a squash, even though it kind of ended in a squash. Nick Camarado came out and actually got the upper hand on Miro for a while.
That's because he's a big dude, man.
He's a big fucking dude. He also attacked Miro before the bell rang outside the ring, and everything. But then Miro got his feet underneath him and was able to hit, I think he calls it game over, his camel clutch to win. And so I think they could keep using Nick Camarado in this sort of way. Or Nip Camarado. Yeah, Nip Camarado is a good guy.
That's a shirt. Nip Camarado.
Should I put him up there with Hulk Hogan?
Hulk Hogan, yeah. WHOLEKOGEN. Mine was talk to text, which means I speak gibberish, apparently.
This is the match that probably has the most to talk about with it. House of Black versus the Acclaimed for the Trios titles. And the reason it has the most to talk about actually has nothing to do with what actually happened in the match directly. The match was a fun match, kind of back and forth, but ended with Malachi Black getting what he used to call the black mass, but I can't remember what he calls it now. The spinning heel kick. But after the match, on Daddy Ass, after the match, Daddy Ass is down. He's gotten pinned. You can see Malachi Black talking to Daddy Ass. It almost looks like he gave him a kiss on the cheek, really. And then kind of hugs his head for a bit and then gets up and leaves. And then as he's leaving, Buddy Matthews leans down and does a similar sort of talk to him before leaving. And this is the heels leaving after doing this, right? And so it's a little weird. And then Daddy Ass goes into the corner and takes his boots off and is legitimately crying while doing it and puts his boots in the middle of the ring and then leaves. And we all know that boots in the middle of the ring are shorthand for I'm retiring from wrestling. And 90% of the time, it's done respectfully and it's at least for a while lived up to. You know what I mean? It's not done as a
At the
story.
very minimum, I'm retiring from this company, or
or I'm retiring for now, and then like Terry Funk, I'll come back in 6 months because I need money or whatever.
or the Undertaker, they'll pay me $1 million to go to Saudi Arabia, or
or whatever, right?
Well, I mean, he's still going to be a manager, though. You know, that's
well, I don't know if he's still going to be a manager, but he's still going to be a producer backstage one way or another, as long as it's not a work. Now, I said this in the group chat, and I want to be 100% clear. After watching it, because I was behind when watching Collision, so I already was aware that it was happening before I saw it. After watching it, I'm on the side of it being real, right? I do believe that this is real. However, I do want to point out that AEW is still the company that a year and a half ago, more like almost 2 years ago, Cody Rhodes took off his boots in the middle of the ring and left them in the ring. And then a week later was back and said, "Oh, you guys thought I retired?" I don't know if it was a week later. It was a little bit longer maybe, but so this is the same company that did this once before, and it ended up being a work.
Yeah, but what was the context with Cody's scenario, though? Because I feel like Cody's scenario was probably a big deal. Where this
end of contract, and I think a week-to-week contract is what happened.
Okay.
Or a match-to-match contract.
And then he never actually re-signed. He just literally did match.
But he did wrestle more after it.
Yes. Yeah.
He did continue
when you're retiring from a company or a role or whatever, and that could have been Cody trying to do some type of symbolism, leveraging the attempt at his contract so that he could, hey, if I leave my boots in the ring, then I can come back next season and come out of retirement, and then I can be the running back for somebody other than the Detroit Lions, which is what we all hoped Barry Sanders was doing, but it wasn't.
Now, just because I wanted to refresh my memory on it, I looked it up, and Cody Rhodes delivered a speech. He took his boots off, left him in the middle of the ring, and then as he was walking out, Malachi Black came out and attacked him, and that's when the show went off the air.
Okay, so that was his way of saying you're coming back.
Yeah,
but I can also see this being a storyline where Malachi Black was leaned over to tell him, "You're retiring. Do you understand?"
You're
like
retiring.
Almost mean.
Yeah, you're retiring when I let you retire, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I felt like they would have done a better job at that though, because I felt like Malachi was just
Now, caveat: I also believe it's legit, but
okay.
I just kicked your ass. Now I'm telling you to retire. Okay, I'll retire. I'm not going to do it. My sons told me they need me. And that would be the reason he'd come back, is if the boys need him, I'm sure. Ass boys.
Right.
Yeah, it's August 5th, 2021. So it's 2 years ago when that happened.
Yeah, Cody's been back in WWE for a year and a half now. That's tough to swallow, huh?
Wow. Yeah. It's true. Damn. Fuck, time flies, huh?
Or in the words of Nickelback, hard to swallow. Sorry.
So,
I am not a leader of men, 'cause I prefer to follow.
That was like one of their first songs, no? Technically.
Yeah.
Leaderman, yeah. They had it was on their album before they had
Remind Me.
The Long Bridge or whatever.
Remind Me. Yeah. Leader of Men, and there was another one called Breathe that were on that previous album before they had their big breakthrough.
Their big break was Spider-Man and Chad Kroeger and Josie Scott doing a song.
That was their bigger break. No, How You Remind Me was where they really broke through.
And that's true. Yeah,
and
that's when they got mainstream.
And that's when they realized if they just do the same song with slightly different lyrics and slightly different,
they could have consulted Sugar Ray about that, and Sugar Ray would have been like, "Yeah, no, dude, seriously, do your same song.
It fucking works." So yeah,
Dude, we got a whole other album.
So yeah, so after Malachi Black came out and attacked him, he was off TV for about a month. A little over a month, and then he came back and had another match against Malachi Black, and then he continued to wrestle for AEW, because again, that was August of 2021. He continued to wrestle for AEW until April 2nd of 2022. So that's almost 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's more than 6 months.
Yeah,
like seven months
without a contract.
Towards the end, without a contract, yeah. So they played the retirement angle, not as fully as this one. Importantly, like he looked like he was retiring, and then he got black masked and all that stuff. But they played that retirement angle one time before. So, as much as I'm a believer that this is real, I have in the back of my brain, but this company's done it before.
Right.
I think it needs to be real for the sake of the respect of the action.
I think it needs to be real, at least for the short term.
Yeah.
Like Billy Gunn off TV for the next
6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Maybe only in a managerial role. Have him come out looking like Rick Rude in a suit.
Mm-hmm. Now, they did definitely play it up afterwards with the Acclaimed, like, trying to convince him not to do it and grabbing his boots and trying to stop him, and he walked right by him on the way out. So, I'm of the mindset that I don't think he comes out with the Acclaimed anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, I think Tony Khan would not have done this lightly. Like, I guarantee you, if Billy Gunn came to Tony Khan and say, "I want to retire, I want to have one last match and retire," Tony Khan would have been like, I want to talk through and to make sure you truly understand, because, and this is important, this is not me saying that Tony Khan's like such a benevolent boss that wants to make sure everything's real. Tony Khan knows exactly how many Scissor Me Daddy Ass shirts sell.
Mm-hmm.
and knows that without Daddy Ass, that jeopardizes the Scissor Me shirt sales. Like, are they just going to find another person to scissor? Well, that's not going to work. Are they just going to start saying Scissor Me Portland? Maybe.
Yeah.
That might work. But then I guess you could do like we did with
shirt that you can
that
fill
shirt
out.
right there that you can fill out and just have them have a shirt that say Scissor Me and then a line that you that just
That would actually be brilliant on their behalf if they did.
Even if they did it, because they are a pissant t-shirt company, or at least connected to one, if they arranged to have that design and then just like a
We'll print
magic
it for you.
marker font that an employee every week just knows where they're going to and prints out like 300 shirts that say that town's name on them in what looks like marker font, you know what I mean, or something.
Doing them blank would be better though.
Doing them blank would be better, but I can see from a overall standpoint, marketing standpoint, having them be a little more professional looking.
You know, if they haven't made the shirt yet, we can get on it. I doubt they have the rights to Scissor Me.
I would bet money they trademarked Scissor Me, but they may have trademarked it as Scissor Me Daddy Ass. At which point,
Two words are tough to trademark, but easier to trademark in a wrestling fashion.
Yes, well, but here's the deal: if they have trademarked Scissor Me Daddy Ass, they could argue that Scissor Me blank is a derivative of their trademark.
True.
So, anyways. Moving
so
back.
Max Caster
do you want that
files
cease and desist order?
Max Caster files to trademark Scissor Me, and this was back in March 4th of 2023. So they probably do have it.
They probably do if he filed for it. I mean, he could have got denied because filing for it does not mean you have it.
It's also not his statement.
Well, it's not, but if he's the one who filed the trademark for it,
then he's trying to get paid off of every time Anthony Bowen says it. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. Sky Blue versus Taya Valkyrie. This was a fun match, all in all. But it was like, man, they're feeding Sky Blue to Taya Valkyrie. And I like Taya Valkyrie, so I like seeing her succeed. I just wish it wasn't at the expense of Sky Blue. Because I like Sky Blue too. I don't know who I'd rather it be.
The unfortunate thing is very quickly they'll have to have Sky Blue win some matches on AEW for the sake of New Japan Pro. That will hurt the relationship if they don't.
This is Sky Blue, not Willow Nightingale.
Sorry. Yeah, my mistake.
Also, Willow Nightingale is no longer the NJPW Strong Champion. She did lose it.
Oh. So, when did that happen? Why did I miss that?
At whatever the show was before the G1 started.
Oh. Well, sincerest apologies that I missed that, fans. But it's Japan, and I don't watch that as much because there's 20 hours of it.
So apparently they they had it as of February 27th. I'm on the uspto.gov. Filing date was February 27th. And then publisher for opposition is June 20th, 23. Max Caster has it.
July 5th, 2023 at New Japan Pro Wrestling Independence Day Night 2 in Tokyo. Julia beat Willow Nightingale to become the second New Japan Strong Women's Champion. I think, keeping in mind that Willow Nightingale winning was entirely inaudible when Mercedes Money broke her ankle. Is what it was. Got injured during the match and knew she couldn't defend the belt. So she called an audible to have Willow Nightingale win. The plan, I think, is to have Julia then be the champion, leading forward to whenever Mercedes Money comes back from her injury. Now they can have a face-off between the biggest women's star in New Japan Pro Wrestling, Julia, versus arguably the biggest women's star in all of non-WWE, Mercedes Money. Arguably. We can have that argument if we want, but anyways.
And by the way, they both own it. Caster and Anthony Bones.
Yeah, I was going to say it could have been a joint filing. They could have created a tag team corporation for all of their joint filings.
They may just say Scissor Me Daddy Max now. Or
Scissor Me Platinum Max.
Platinum Max. That's a reasonable change.
I think Scissor Me insert the city they're in is the better way to do it. Because he does go over to the crowd and get scissored usually at some point, so might as well.
This is one of the more awkward conversations we've had.
Maybe Scissor Me Brycey Rems. And then the referee be like, okay.
Okay.
Scissor Me Aubrey Eds. No. I don't think they do that. Don't think they do that one.
I mean, they could.
Could, yeah. I don't think she'd be interested, but anyways. Christian Cage and Ricky Starks versus CM Punk and Darby Allin was the main event of the evening. This was the match that was set up earlier. And so Ricky Starks. This is definitely at least hinting at the start of a full-on heel turn for Ricky Starks. The promo at the beginning was teasing babyface still. He's like, I just did what I had to do to win and all of this stuff. And like he kind of sort of apologized to Jushin Thunder Liger, but didn't really. But this match he did play the heel in. So I think we're seeing heel Ricky Starks, which I don't know if that's the right move, but we'll find out.
Well, you can oversaturate your heels.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me who the biggest face in AEW is right now.
Darby Allin would be up there.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy probably.
But it's no longer Jungle Boy, who was the
no longer
biggest
Jungle
natural
Boy.
face.
Mm-hmm. Ricky Starks' whole gimmick of I don't want to be called a pillar because there's only one Ricky Starks. There's definitely a little bit heelish. But, they have Christian Cage and Luchasaurus as heels. They've got, they've got a fair amount of heels, and I don't know. I don't know. We'll find out.
Sounds like the Elite are going to go back to being faces, but that's, people will schmoz about that because, well, they're just the bosses making their own rules.
Yeah. Although, Tony Khan has gone on the record saying that he's the one who makes the storylines and none of the EVPs have any creative control. Whether you believe him or not is a different thing altogether. Anyways. I thought Collision overall was fairly decent. Also worth at least kind of running down. We did have a Ring of Honor pay-per-view this weekend, or specifically on Friday, which is part of why I didn't realize it was going on, because it was a pay-per-view on a Friday. Right. When there already is SmackDown and Rampage.
Yeah, and it went past the Rampage because I think it finished at like 11 o'clock Eastern. Yeah. So
it also had a fuck ton of 0 hour show matches. So I say a fuck ton, but there are a lot of matches, and I'm not sure how many of them were on 0 Hour or not. I guess, but there were a few. It's like two matches at least on 0 Hour. AR Fox versus Shane Taylor and Layla Hirsch returning to the ring versus Trish Adora. I'm trying to read here. Anthony Henry and JD Drake versus Martin and Andretti was also on the pre-show. So that's 3. Anyways. Yeah, so the 4 total matches on the pre-show. That's a fair amount of matches on the pre-show.
Yep, that's a lot.
But so a wrestler that I'd never heard of before. I don't know if he's new or if he's been around, but goes by the name Gravity, who will be wrestling this week on Dynamite, wrestled against Commander and won. So now we get to see Gravity versus Pac, which I think is funny. And I'm sure this is at least part of the storyline, even though they might not mention it. Is because remember what Pac, when he wrestled as Neville in WWE, what the headline slogan for him was?
Was it the man who defies gravity in some way?
The man that gravity forgot.
That's right.
The man that gravity forgot. Well, gravity must have remembered him because he's coming up. He does have kind of a unique mask because he wrestles luchador style, but the entire front of his mask is like a chainmail mesh. So he doesn't have like eye holes. It's just like a mesh. Looks kind of cool. Anyways. Gravity won, right? Samoa Joe defended his Ring of Honor TV title versus Dalton Castle. This match was not supposed to happen originally. Samoa Joe was supposed to be taking time off to do promotion for his TV show based on the Twisted Metal video game franchise. But all of the promotion has been called off because of the SAG-AFTRA strike. So he's like, well, I guess I can wrestle. So this match happened because of that. Samoa Joe retained, won. Kind of sad we don't get to see Dalton Castle as TV title holder, but whatever. Kingdom versus Lucha Bros versus Best Friend versus Aussie Open for the Ring of Honor tag titles. And we got to see a new tag championship come out of it. Aussie Open are now the Ring of Honor tag title holders. So that's kind of cool. Mogul Embassy versus Wado Taguchi and Ruffin for the Ring of Honor 6-man tag titles. Mogul Embassy, of course, being Brian Cage, Toa Leona, and Bishop Khan. And Mogul Embassy got the victory there. Shibata versus Daniel Garcia for the Pure Championship. Got to see Daniel Garcia dance. Shibata got the victory, retained the title. Might have been the best match of the night. Righteous versus Dark Order. But it like one of the members of Righteous is Stu Grayson. So
Right.
he's not in the Dark Order anymore.
That was a fun match, though. That match I also watched.
What? Dutch and Vincent, who have been on Ring of Honor for a long time, were rumored to be going to WWE when Ring of Honor first disappeared for a while, but are back in Ring of Honor now. But so, Claudio versus Pac for the Ring of Honor World Championship. And this was Claudio getting the victory. Afterwards, of course, the Lucha Bros came down. First, Blackpool Combat Club, Wheeler Yuta came out to the distraction and help Claudio get the win. Then the Lucha Bros came down, reuniting Death Triangle to attack Yuta and Casanova. Then Best Friends and Orange Cassidy came out, and for some reason or other, because they shouldn't be wanting to help
Pac and Lucha Brothers, but they also shouldn't want to be helping Wheeler Yuta and Blackpool Combat Club. I don't know why they came out, but they did. They came out and cleaned house and ended up being the last man standing. So, yeah. And then the main event was Athena versus Willow Nightingale for the Ring of Honor Women's Championship, which is the other one in contention for being match of the night. Willow Nightingale, of course, put on a great match as always, and Athena has been killing it as the heel champion for Ring of Honor Women's Championship. So, the only problem is, again, it was a Friday night where they were competing with one of their own shows. I know Ring of Honor separate from AEW, but it's the same company. They counter-programmed themselves, man. But like they couldn't put it on Saturday because then they counter-programmed themselves again there. So they kind of backed themselves into a corner. But that's overall the events that we can talk about for wrestling this week. A lot of wrestling happened this week. I'm interested to see how they talk about Daddy Ass retirement on Dynamite this week. Whether they talk about it at all. A lot of good stuff coming out of it. But unless anyone else has something else to talk about.
Well, I mean, there is rumors that Brian Pillman Jr. might be heading up to NXT. Nothing official there.
Well, yes, his AEW contract was allowed to expire, and they did not renew him. So he is a 100% free agent, can appear wherever immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, he was spotted at the Performance Center. There's conflicting reports. Some people say WWE is in an unofficial hiring freeze until the deal to sell is fully completed, because there's still regulatory approvals that still have to be done.
Right.
And they're still in a lawsuit with MLW that it's an antitrust lawsuit. MLW is arguing that they've effectively become a monopoly and that they use their monopolistic powers to try to choke out the little guys, specifically talking about venues such as Madison Square Garden, where it has become common knowledge that WWE has contacted them and said, maybe not directly these words, but words of the sort.
Don't do anything with us.
That says, yeah, don't do anything with anyone that's not us, right? If you do something with somebody else, we'll stop coming there. And so Ring of Honor and MLW and AEW, find themselves having to book secondary markets instead of primary markets, just to get things, such as in Chicago they had to do the Sears Center instead of whatever the bigger one, United Center, was at first. AEW did, but WWE's defense of that has been recently, we can't be a monopoly because look at how much success AEW is having. But they are also aware of the optics of, we just signed another former AEW star away from them right now. So there are reports that they may be holding off on actually signing Brian Pillman Jr. until the whole trial with MLW is over, or the whole merger is complete at least. We'll find out. Again, reports are just reports, and what actually happens in reports ain't always exactly the same thing. So
that's it. So just worth noting, and that would kind of make sense too, since Brian Pillman was last in WWE before he had passed. So
here's the deal: Brian Pillman Jr. super talented. I don't know what went wrong with him in AEW, whether it was entirely Tony Khan's booking, entirely Brian Pillman not putting himself forward together.
combination of the both, something else altogether. I don't know, right? But something about him in AEW never clicked, right? Started to look like it was clicking for a bit, the Varsity Blondes, but never got really going. And in some cases, some wrestlers have left AEW and said, "Listen, don't blame AEW. It was all my fault." Like Jack Evans 100% said, they chose not to renew my contract. And in hindsight, I don't blame them because I was coasting the entire time there. I put on an extra 20 pounds of weight because I wasn't training as much as I used to. I didn't throw myself into the ring as hard as I could. I wasn't working as hard as I could. And so I don't blame him. Joey Janela said much the same. That when he was with AEW, he got complacent and didn't push himself both in the gym and in the ring as much as he should have. And that he doesn't have hard feelings towards AEW, but he understands that the best position for him was to go back to the Indies at this time. Someone else recently left AEW and has just basically announced that he's going to just do the Indies for a bit. He understands that he appreciated his time in AEW, but he understands that he needs a little bit more time to, for lack of a better term, to cook. Might have been Fuego who said this.
Okay.
To establish himself and because Fuego's really young, and so this is time to build the Fuego legacy a little bit more. Brian Pillman very well is, I think, the same thing. Something was not working with him in AEW. What it was, I don't know. I don't have the magic bullet to fix what was going wrong with him in AEW, but it just wasn't quite working, right? I think we all can agree that Brian Pillman Jr. in AEW just didn't click. And maybe having access to the Performance Center and having access to dozens of the greatest minds in the recent history of professional wrestling, helping you learn how to do promos, helping you learn how to structure matches, helping you work on your gimmick. Maybe that's the thing he needed, is that his gimmick just never had it, right? Maybe what he needs is to be given a new name and forced to be a gimmick that's not Brian Pillman's son. We always in WWE kind of get angry at them when they take a second generation wrestler. I'm looking at you, Braun Breaker, and give him a name that doesn't honor the parental generation. But maybe for Brian Pillman, that might be the better thing to do. Maybe Brian Pillman Jr. needs to wrestle for a while under a different name and learn who he is instead of just who his dad was, I don't know. I don't have the magic bullet, like I said. But I hope for the best if he does sign with WWE. I hope he succeeds. I hope someday he makes AEW wish they hadn't let him go. But for now, who knows what we'll see of him.
Yeah, it's tough to guess.
I feel like they'll use his name though if he does end up going to NXT and all that. And I don't know. I don't think the Varsity Blondes thing did work at all. I don't know how he exactly would be used. I guess going down to NXT and all that, and maybe doing a thing with Braun Breaker and all that might be decent-ish. We'll see. It's too hard to tell at the moment, like you mentioned. But
I again point to Braun Breaker as a perfect example of WWE saying, "Hey, I know you're a second-generation wrestler, whose father is a legend. Also, importantly, a legend most closely tied to WCW. Because, yes, while Brian Pillman finished his career in WWE. When you think of Brian Pillman, you think of ECW and WCW.
Fair.
You don't think of his WWE run.
Well, I mean, you'll think of maybe the Austin Pillman feud there with the gun, because that was pretty big news.
But so I also could see PG WWE right now not wanting that storyline to be brought to forefront. And if you let him use the Brian Pillman name,
true. Yeah.
I mean, literally, it's the reason that they didn't ever want China to come back into WWE for so long, is because they were worried that someone would Google the name China and come up with the bad stuff in their minds that she did, right? They don't want kids to Google Brian Pillman and forget the junior part and see, is this Brian Pillman with a gun on Stone Cold Steve Austin? And so I could totally see them saying, hey, we're going to have you do something else. Speaking of wrestlers who might be better off abandoning their real last name, backstage last week was David Benoit, who fucking doggedly demands to wanting to become a professional wrestler and use the Benoit last name. And bro, you will never be a regular on TV with the Benoit last name. No company, even AEW, that was not around during the time, has no ties to it, is not going to want to glorify the Benoit name right now.
Right.
I don't care if you're trying to bring it back and redeem it or whatever.
Like, I know you're a private company on top of that, but at the end of the day, Warner Brother Discovery won't bite on that. They'll be like, well, we're not going to stream anytime.
Yeah,
we're not
private
stream those
company or not,
episodes he's on.
the optics of it are really bad.
For sure.
And here's the deal. He could be Pegasus Jr. and still give homage to his father in a less direct way. Because his father in New Japan, or in Japanese wrestling, I don't remember which, might have been All Japan Pro Wrestling, wrestled as the Pegasus Kid. So you could be Pegasus Jr. and still get your homage in, but it fly more under the radar and not as in people's faces. But anyways, but so I hope for the best. I hope fucking David has a lot of success. I also hope that he's smart enough not to do a flying headbutt finisher,
right,
or the crossface.
Oh Jesus, that's gonna.
Just stay away from them.
That's gonna create PTSD for him for like all kinds. Because didn't Benoit apparently do that to his son when he killed him? I don't see him doing that.
I've looked at every police report, and none of the police reports give any indication of
that he did a wrestling move.
They just say that the child was asphyxiated, which could just as easily be a strangulation, or a plastic bag, or a cord around, or whatever. I don't want to even speculate.
Okay, yeah.
But it could be lots of things.
Right.
It theoretically could be a wrestling move, although, in fairness, a crossface, the way that wrestlers apply it, would not cause a strangulation. It would have to be modified in a way that is not the typical way. Because the crossface, importantly, goes across the face.
I don't want to add too much to this to create a thing because it is very dark. But if you cover the nose and the face with a crossface and keep
the way a
going,
crossface is, remember, you're holding your hand like this. You can't create a seal with your hand like this. There's no way to cover airways with your hand like this.
yeah,
Not enough to cause asphyxiation or even someone passing out. The whole thing with the crossface was never someone passes out. It was that it was just excruciatingly painful on the neck.
right.
I think D.A. Fabe is tired of this conversation.
Yep.
So we will move on. I wish the best for all of them.
I don't think we need to live in a world where we're discussing how
Exactly. That's it. Yeah.
All I'm saying is I've looked as much as I could, and even though it's the trendy internet rumor that it happened that way, I have never seen any evidence that that was the actual case. And frankly, I think it makes it worse. That it wasn't the case, sort of thing. I think there's too much about it being a wrestling move that makes it look like, oh, maybe it was an accident, or maybe it was this, or maybe it was that.
At the end of the day,
he
snapped.
Yeah, he snapped,
murdered
and he
his wife.
Made a choice.
Waited and said, "Well, the only way out of this is to kill myself and kill a child."
Mm-hmm. And so, don't do drugs, people. CTEs are fucking brutal and serious, and take care of your brain. And seek professional help if you start having really dark thoughts. We've stigmatized.
We don't know the size of the ribbon for any individual person that's between sanity and insanity.
Mm-hmm.
But there is always a ribbon there where you are conscientious of things being.
All it takes is one bad day.
Yeah, and so, if you have a friend or family member or somebody you know who seems to be approaching that line, talk about it. Suggest help. Keep yourself and your kids away from that dangerous scenario. We don't really have a society anymore that you can unwillingly commit somebody without them actually making an act or a statement, an approvable statement. But if you know it's there, doing something's better than doing nothing.
Yeah. In the end, one of the big things, and this is what I'm a big proponent of, is destigmatizing mental health.
Yes.
We've lived in a society for a very long time that treats mental health as something to be ashamed of. In my lifetime, there have been the jokes of that person seeing a therapist. Can't believe I'm not going to go see a therapist. That's for crazy people. No. If you've got dark thoughts, find someone to talk to about it. It is easier than it has ever been to get mental health help, right? There are apps for your phone that you can use and talk to someone over that. There are websites you can go to for telehealth if you don't want to use your phone for it. And if not, there are walk-in clinics that you can talk to someone about it. On top of that, and I'm going to be clear on this, most jobs, even if you don't get insurance through the jobs, most full-time jobs in America have some sort of employee assistance program that is free for the employee to talk to someone about mental health issues. 100% free. Most jobs have it. Even if you don't have insurance through them, the employee assistance program is something that should be available for most of them. And so get help, man. if you're having dark thoughts, talk to somebody before those dark thoughts speak for you. Because there ain't no going back, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the quote from Alan Moore in Batman: The Killing Joke. All it takes is one bad day to reduce the sanest man alive to lunacy. So before you have that one bad day, talk to someone. Anyways, on that note, we're going to go ahead and close the book on the wrestling booking unit, not the fantasy booking unit, because that was what I played the intro to because I forgot to switch it. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you're a fan of this show, you can subscribe to us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Raw and Order WBU. Subscribe if you have Amazon Prime. You can subscribe for absolutely free. Otherwise, it's just $5 a month. And it's a great way to support us. You can support us also by going to our merch stores. There's a couple of them. Links are in the doobly-doos. And you can get something like Going the Wrong Way, like that shirt that's right behind DA Fabe, or one of the many other designs that we have to support us that way. You can also support us through bits, through tips. Those links are in our description on Twitch. You can subscribe to us on YouTube to help out the algorithm there. And then, like we said, we've got a Patreon. We're working on, there's not a lot on it right now, but we're working on this new idea that we talked about where we will do live watch-alongs of wrestling starring movies that have wrestlers in major roles in them. Say major roles, they can be semi-minor roles, but they still got to be kind of a focus role. Anyways,
yeah, we're not talking. Probably not even really talking the Mummy, The Rock's first movie, The Mummy 4, because it's really not a primary piece to that, and it's really bad CGI. The CGI that I don't want to watch.
But the Scorpion King
would be in that category.
Might be in that category, unfortunately. But there's a lot of them to get through. So
the reason it's part of Botch Along is because it could be bad at a lot of points.
And the plan is, like we talked about earlier, we're going to do them probably live on Twitch, but they will then be archived on Patreon. So if you don't get to see them during their time on Twitch, you will have to subscribe to the Patreon to access the back catalog of them. We will start to get that. They will be live reactions. We will not be playing the movie on screen due to copyright reasons and all that stuff. So you will have to find your own way to watch it along as we do it. But we will.
If we can find a free stream, we'll tell you about it.
If we find out. I mean, many of them will be streaming on one of the major streaming platforms, whether it's Peacock,
very possible,
Paramount, Netflix, Hulu. One of them we will make sure to let you know any places that it is streaming. But if not, you may have to find a place to rent it from if you want to watch along, or you can just watch along with us and kind of just try to remember. We will try to describe things as they happen. But again, for copyright reasons, we can't put the actual thing up on screen while we're doing the full reaction.
Of course.
Wah, wah, wah. We get enough subscribers. We can do that. We'll just pay for the rights for one show.
We have to get a lot of subscribers.
A lot of subscribers. So,
or at the very least, a lot of T-shirt sales.
Yeah.
Or that, yeah.
But anyways, on that note, we're going to go ahead and close the book. Make sure to follow me on all the social medias at Raw and Order WBU, like it says right there. You can follow DA Fabe at
DA Vincent Gay Fabe on Twitter.
And you can follow JLB at X.
Twitch.
Yeah.
Or X. Yeah, exactly. Twitch.tv/JLBTLC25. Or at JLB420 on Twitter. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But I mostly stream AEW, Fight Forever. I didn't stream when I beat my first time beating Road to the Elite. But yeah, hopefully I do stream it next time. As now I'm playing with John Moxley, so that should be fun.
John Moxley. I'm on my second playthrough of Road to the Elite with a creative wrestler. Because the creative wrestler,
at least you're getting more story. You're getting different stories, right? Because I'm kind of noticing almost the same kind of.
Yeah, I'm getting some different stories. I'm doing a few of the same, but it does open up a whole another path on it, just because your training actually matters. Because you start off with basically 0 skills. You know,
right, true.
You are a true newbie, and so you have to train. You have to spend your skill points to unlock finishers and additional stuff like that, additional move sets.
So it makes it more interesting too. Okay.
So you do have a lot of that to do. It also does make it a little bit tricky because when you're playing with an already created wrestler, a existing wrestler, they've got their move sets all figured out, and so you can kind of just like if you don't want to train, you can just do the other things that are important. You know, the sightseeing, the eating, the food, the whatever. But when you're doing a creative wrestle, every time you've got to think about what can I earn to make my wrestler a little bit better at this next match, you know. So you do the training a little bit more. You come up with things. But anyways, so I highly recommend that at some point. But on that note, we're going to go ahead and close the book. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you soon.
Deuces.